Okay. Well, folks, welcome to the virtual table read of The Desert Willow by Deb Smith. The neat thing about tonight's reading is that our playwright is with us. So now, Deb, I would make a request that you don't necessarily add a lot of commentary during the reading. We'll have a chance to do question and answer with you at the end, but we really probably don't want to do edits on the fly. I'm just saying I know what I would do in it. So I'm going to go around the screen and ask each of you to introduce yourself and which role you're playing. And when we break for intermission, we might do a little bit of fun chat then. So I'm going to start at on my screen, top left-hand corner, where one of the, I guess that's where Greg Brady would have been. But Katrina.
Me. Oh, hi. I'm Katrina. I'm playing Maxine Scott. Right. What else do you want to know? I graduated from McMurray in 2018 with Trey. I've been living in Kalamazoo, Michigan for almost 2 years now. So if my accent is really northern, I apologize because I've gotten so lazy with it.
Hey. Don't worry. David Ainsworth is not on here to worry about your diction. Well, Sylvia.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Barone, and I live here in Abilene. I've had the pleasure of working with Mike a couple of times, and that's been really neat. So I'm looking forward to having a fun time tonight here.
Good. Susan Steele.
Hey, I'm
Caitlin
Susan
Copeland.
Or Caitlin Copeland, incognito. I'm Susan Steele. I'll be Mildred Ham. I too have had the pleasure of working with Mike, by Mike, beside Mike, behind Mike. He just keeps towing me around, so I guess I'll hang out a while.
I get double the community service hours when I work with you.
There you go. See, I knew I served a purpose.
Stacy.
Oh, hi. I'm Stacy. I am a dropout of the Mike Stevens School of Theater Safety.
Macbeth.
That's why I dropped out.
So funny.
Hayden. Oh, go ahead, Stacy.
Oh, I'm reading Booty tonight.
Okay. Hayden.
Hi, I'm Hayden. I am reading for Max Scott and radio announcer numero dos. And I am a junior theater major at Abilene Christian University. So no McMurray for me.
Hey, that's okay.
You can still be a part of this.
We've got a mix of all three schools here, so that's good. Aaron.
I'm Aaron. I'll be playing Tom Quest today. Fixture of ACT here. Retired Air Force. Decided to stay in Abilene. I've worked with most of the people here. At least I've seen you around.
Hey, Aaron.
And then Bobby.
Hi, I'm Bobby Barone. I'm Sylvia Barone's daughter. I'm a student at HSU. I will be a sophomore this fall semester, starting sophomore year. I have never, I've worked with Mike, but I've never been in I've been in Music Man. That was the only show so far that I've done where Mike was the director. But I have helped him with other things for other shows he's done. So.
All right.
And Bobby is going to be designing that for Other Desert People at ACT.
Yes.
Cool.
Other Desert Cities. Yes.
Other Desert Cities. Yes.
And also I'm playing Faye. So.
Yes, that's the important thing to know. Faye is one of my favorite characters in this script. Just saying that. Eddie.
She's alive. She's my aunt.
Yes, sir.
Tell us who you are.
Huh? Oh, hi, I'm Eddie.
Tell us who you are.
Mike and I have worked many times together, and I have a semi-graduate of the Mike's School of theater safety. Anyway, this is my first virtual read. I am also one of these people that's about as tech savvy as an avocado. So this is fun. This is fun. I'm so far I'm enjoying watching the camaraderie and the back and forth, and so I'm looking forward to this.
Okay. Trey.
Hello, I'm Trey Spivey. I am a graduate of McMurray along with Katrina, and I currently am the Assistant Technical Director at Hardin Simmons, and I've worked with Mike at ACT and McMurray.
Hey, Trey.
Oh, and I'll be reading Sam West.
Trey designed the set, which was probably the most challenging set I've had for No Room for a Picture on a Blank Wall. So if you haven't seen that show, the entire set except for one wall is gone by the end of the show, but then it has to be put back up for the next show. Susan Webb.
Pretty heavy show.
Susan, and I've worked with Mike on, gosh, several productions. I'm also, I also sometimes have a northern accent, although I've been in Abilene and in Texas for, I guess, about 7 years. So mine's kind of gone away at this point. I'm originally from the Cincinnati area. So I didn't go to school around here. I went to Northern Kentucky University for theater. So yeah, different school. But I work for AISD. I'm the district mental health coordinator for the schools, and but I love
you. We need you.
Yeah. I love it. That's my passion. Although I had a past career in theater, so that's kind of where I am. What I do.
Great. Sylvia, real quick. Tony says that he's seeing a message. It's waiting on the host to let him in the meeting. Do you see Tony waiting to get into the meeting?
Let me see. No.
We got that on the first meeting the link you sent, Mike. I got that one.
Right, but I just sent him. I sent him the link. Yeah, I sent him the link from Sylvia. Okay. Let me send it to him one more time. And while I'm doing that, Cece, if you will tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, I'm Cece, formerly known as Cecilia. I've worked with Mike a few times. He actually directed me in Dial M for Murder. I've also worked with Mrs. Nightstep. She directed me my entire junior high and high school career. So, I know a little bit, but you know, everything I learned was from Ms. Nightstep and Mike. So, forever indebted to those two.
If it's anything good, it's from Miss Ruth. If it's anything bad, it's from me. Okay, Jesse, unmute yourself and tell us about you, please, sir. Oh, real quick, Cece, who are you playing?
Oh, I am reading the stage directions. I'm an understudy. I don't live in Abilene anymore, so I'm just helping where I can.
Ooh.
I know, but
hey, remember, Katrina's up from up north. Hey, and Tony is joining us, and then Jesse.
So, hey guys, this is actually my second attempt to work with Mike. I'm very gracious that he allowed me to come back, and there's a story behind this, I'm sure, that I can always tell you later. But like the other gentleman that mentioned, this is my first reading, and so I've dabbled in theater acting throughout high school, college, and after a 20-year hiatus, I'm glad I'm doing this again. And Texas transplant, graduate of Hardin Simmons, and I'm looking forward to playing Shorty and Joseph Bailey. So glad to be here.
Very good. Debbie Sherman.
Hey guys, I live here in Abilene, work at First Financial Bank, and I have a background in theater and dance, and I was out of theater for quite some time and just enjoyed working with Mike on Apple of His Eye this season. That was my first delve. I was actually very, very shocked to even get cast, But it was a great experience, and this is my first table read. And I will not be joining his school of safety. I won't go. I
Don't
really don't know many things that were very.
That's a wise decision.
Exactly.
And there's so much of what not to do.
Well, maybe I'll learn that. Keep a note of what not. I don't want to have to actually get on a ladder because I don't know where it's balanced on. I just don't know. So
that ladder unit. Is
I'm doing reading Ruth Scott tonight.
Right.
Very good. And last but not least, Tony Redmond.
Okay, can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. We can.
Yes.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I'm having to do this on my phone this time. I'm Tony Redmond. I've done a few of these readings, which is a lot of fun, especially last time. That one was pretty interesting. And on this one, I will be playing Pete Boudreau and Robert Smitty Smith.
Yay, Smitty.
and I guess I'm last on the cast list. I am George Harper. I've never done anything like this before, and I will be radio announcer Uno, right, Hayden, and Perry Wade.
Right, Perry.
So with that, I'm going to say let's go ahead and get started, Miss Cece.
Mike, I forgot to say who I was playing.
Okay, Sylvia, go ahead.
I didn't know if we needed to. So I'm Matt. I am Jeannie Bishop.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's how you say it, right? That is my name, Jeannie.
Is it Jean or Jeannie? I thought it was Jean.
Is it Jean? Well, you're the playwright.
Jean.
Is it Jean? Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, am I reading the entire massive paragraph?
I tell you what, if you want to read just the first few lines that give us the initial setting,
okay.
We'll pick up on the rest of it as we go.
Okay, awesome.
And folks, real quick, before CC gets started, understand that with Zoom, it is really easy to read over somebody else. So more than watching the script, wait until you hear their last line and then go ahead and read. There's really only a couple of places where the characters overlap in lines, but that's going to be hard to do over Zoom. Yes, Deb.
Mike, Ruthie and I are just listening. We're not following the script. So.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yep. So folks, particularly those who have been in shows with me, remember one of the things I always say, the audience doesn't have the script. They don't know the story. So if you miss something up, back up a little bit, fix it, and keep on going. Deb does know the script, but she doesn't have it in front of her.
Okay.
Okay, Cece, we are waiting on you, sweetie.
I'm sorry
that
you
was
kept
sexy.
chatting. Okay.
When do I not?
Exactly. All right. So the scene is set in 1942, Fort Worth, Texas, in the Queen Street home of the Max Scotts. At the rides, upstage is a tall, sick or scrim, I don't know what that stands for, washed in light blue. Silhouetted on this, left and right are two tall telephone-type poles, each with 3 cross pieces connected by 8 lines running between, those are carrying the railroad telegraph signals. The main set piece is an R&R depot showing the outside and roof, but allowing the main room to be shown to the audience. Do you want me to keep going?
I would say let's go ahead and start from there.
Okay.
Oh, hi, I'm home. Jean's brother, Johnny, took us to get Malteds.
Good, you're home, Maxine. Your mother and I want to talk to you about where you're going to college.
Oh, great. I know what you're going to say already.
Now, little lady, we want you to know how proud we are of you finishing your high school early. We appreciate all of your hard work and accomplishments. However, especially now that your brother has been sent to war, we don't want to send you to the East Coast for college. Smith College, and it's so expensive. You're only 16 and Texas Westland is a much better fit. Only a few blocks from the house. It's a very good college.
Oh, I knew you'd never let me go to the one place I've had my heart set on.
Honey, you know we've thought long and hard about this. We wanted to let you have your choice, but we wouldn't get to see you often, and you can study so many things right here in Fort Worth.
Oh, forget about it. If I can't go to Smith, I'm not going to college at all.
You know how much we want you to go. Neither of us had the chance to go to college, and we want you to.
Your mother and I both had to drop out of school early to work. You know that.
Oh, yes, Chief. You just give the orders like you're at work, and we have to do what you say.
Do you actually think your mother and I did what we did to satisfy ourselves? We did it because our families wouldn't have had food or shelter if we hadn't worked.
Yes, I know, Daddy, but those were different times. Things are completely different and modern nowadays. We have more opportunities, all right? But we still have to take them by the horns and wrestle them down ourselves. It's okay. Never mind. Jean has decided to go to school to be a telegrapher. I could do that too.
Maxie, Jean is a wonderful girl and a great friend, but that doesn't mean you two are meant to do the same with your future. And you're only 16. Let's think this over for a while and...
Mother, I don't need to think it over. If you and Daddy refuse to let me go to Smith, I'm going to take the Morse codes, the Morse study downtown, and be a telegrapher for the railroad. I can start right away.
I had a feeling she might react this way. Still, it's better for her to have a good job and stay in small Texas towns than to be on the East Coast. Railroad workers have a union and everything, and she's too independent to stay with us any longer.
I guess you're right. She is only 16, Max. I just hate to see her so disappointed. At least she can't join the army like Dick did. I'll bet she would go in a flash.
I know you're right. That red hair gives a mere glimpse of the whirlwind she is capable of being. She'd be a pilot in the new Army Air Corps and fly her plane right into the face of Adolf Hitler.
Well, she's a great young lady, but she is headstrong. I wouldn't want to be her enemy. We'll have a lot to pray about with both children out in the crazy world, honey. One in the war and the other at war with us and our old ways.
With God's help and Pastor Dory's prayers, we'll make it.
Okay, scene. Scott, Fort Worth living room a few months later. At Rise, Maxine and Jean Bishop are in the living room having finished their training as telegraphers. With their hiring papers in hand, they have been hired to go to 2 different small Texas towns and work for the Texas and Pacific Railroad. Each girl is wearing a nice dress and makeup. Shoes have been slipped off.
Jean, how far will we be apart? I'll bet we can ride on the trains free and go see each other on days off.
Let's see. Hand me the map. The Texas and Pacific Railroad, our new fount from which all blessings flow. I didn't know they took out so much tax from your paychecks. Did you?
Dick told me so in his last letter. Uncle Sam even takes it out of the soldiers' pay. I never heard of a Santo. Have you? And what is yours again? Wild horse? They sound kind of exotic, don't you think? I'll bet they're really as plain as anything, but I don't care. They're such tiny places. When we get there, they will see firsthand how to dress and wear makeup and be modern working women. Then we'll get down to how to hear and send code. That will astound them, I'm sure.
We're about to move out on our own and be career girls.
Yes, we are.
And we will always be
best
friends.
March 1942. Oh, sorry.
March
1942. General Douglas MacArthur was named the Supreme Commander of the Allied forces in the Pacific.
April 1942. The first raid on the Japanese mainland has begun, and 16 B-25 carrier-launched bombers struck Tokyo, Kobe, Yokohama, Nagoya, and Yokosuka. Bataan fell, and 78,000 American and Filipino men were led on a forced march.
June 1942. Nazis burned the Czech village of Lidus as reprisal for the killing of Reinhard Heinrich. All adult males and children were killed, and all females were taken off to concentration camps.
In stateside news, President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared actress Carol Lombard the first woman to die in the line of duty in the war. She made her final film as a satire about the Nazis and died in a plane crash after attending a war bond rally. Her new husband, Clark Gable, enlisted in the Air Force after her death. A ship was named in Lombard's honor.
The Texas T&P Railroad Depot in Clyde, Texas, almost 2 years later. Clyde Arno Depot, Maxine is now 17 and has been working here for a month or so. She has landed a job in the midst of the least modern and amazing business setting imaginable. She is walking down the CS steps, bringing a message to hang on the U.S. flagpole for the train to pick up. She carries a short step stool. Sam West is 18 and enters from the left, and as he is much taller, volunteers to give her a hand. He is tall and thin, studious looking with glasses. He wears khaki pants and a lightweight short-sleeved dress shirt. She wears a nice dress with sensible high-heeled shoes.
Can I give you a hand, miss?
No, thanks. I have it covered. There.
Yes, I see you became tall enough. Just barely. Hi, I'm Sam West. I've been away since graduation, so I guess I missed your grand entrance into the big town of Clyde. How are you liking it?
It's a nice place. I'm renting a room from Pete and Booty Boudreaux. Do you know them? They're so nice. They remind me of my best friend, Jean's parents.
Where are you from?
Fort Worth. It's a bit bigger than Clyde, I'd say. Jean lives in Wild Horse now, though. I know, another big metropolis. She also works for the TMP.
I just returned from DC. Yep, so I have been off the farm, as they say.
So your parents have a farm here?
No, we live a block over there, just down from the Five and Dime, by the way. My dad's trucks produce from New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Sorry, gotta take a message.
How did you learn to take more so fast? All I hear is tickety, clickety, tickety, tack, tack, tack. I made one of these cinders for the science fair. I like building and fixing things.
Nice. I studied it in Fort Worth with my friend, and we worked on it at night, too. Learned in 3 months.
You can't find better things to do at night in Fort Worth? I can think of a few. Yes, ma'am, you're speaking right now to Sam West, the poor man's friend, the ladies' home companion. Oh, and law west of the underpass. Don't forget that.
Underpass?
There's a big underpass between Clyde and Baird territory on Highway 8. We're big rivals.
Sorry, I don't have any self-aggrandizing titles to give you. But my name is Maxine Scott. I replaced Geneva Norwood when she left to go live with her sister Victoria. You smoke?
Yeah, sure. Sure, I know them both, and her sister Rita's husband, Earl. Good eggs, all of them. I know everybody in Clyde. See, I lived here all my life.
And you always will?
I don't know what's next for me. Thinking of joining the army. My brother Joe is. You have any brothers?
Yes, one. My older brother Dick. Well, Richard. He's in the army and already overseas. In Africa now. And going to Sicily, I think. Isn't the war terrible?
I'll say. My oldest brother Jack works in D.C. for a state representative. He wouldn't go to the army as long as Mr. Politics keeps his job. But Joe, second oldest brother, is planning right now to go in.
Is he married? Dick isn't.
He is married and has a baby boy. Helen doesn't want it, but the U.S. is in the war now, and we each have to do our part, married or not. There are 3 of us boys, and my younger sister, Faye, stayed in school.
That's nice. I wish I'd had a sister. But I have close cousins. And Jean. She's like a sister.
Well, tickety, clickety, I've got to be going now. I'll check in with you another time. What was that message about anyway?
I can't tell you that, silly. Go find that underpass and be a good companion to it, will you?
Lights dim on depot. Enter announcers for transition.
April 1943. Japan's most popular military leader, General Yamamoto, is killed. Film actor Joe E. Brown autographed a 1,000-pound bomb to Tojo from Joe and said, "There, boys, is the address. Now go and deliver it." He was with the U.S. forces somewhere in New Guinea. He was with the crew of the heavy B-24 bomber, which is named Yanks from Hell.
May 1943. Axis powers surrender in Tunisia, North Africa. Tunisia is now under Allied control. All organized Japanese resistance ended on Attu Island, India. Aleutians. America moved from a defensive to mixed offensive defensive battle at Coral Sea, the first air-naval battle in history.
In stateside news, in 1942 alone, 1,800,000 weddings took place, up 83% from 10 years before, and 2/3 of those brides were marrying men newly enlisted in the military.
TMP Depot, Clyde, a few weeks later. Maxine and Sam have become good friends, and it's evident that they are dating. Maxine is taking a break. R&R Depot door is open, and on the bench, DS from the depot. Maxine is wearing a light blue dress, red lipstick, and red hair. Her red hair is in an updo. Sam enters in khakis and a lightweight work shirt, and they are happy to see each other.
Hey, Tickety Clock, how's the weather way down there?
Like the south end of a northbound mule, I'll say.
That good, huh? Maybe another one of these will clear it up. What? Another murder mystery? Who done it this time? The butler again?
Never so easy to ascertain, Watson. Pay attention to the master. Who knows? It is a good one, though. Have you heard from Joe? I know I haven't taken any telegrams for your family.
Helena got a letter. Well, several letters at once. Joe's in the Marine Islands. He maybe made the fire marshal. He helped me burn a big C at the 50-yard line off the Beard football field. But now he's going to be the damned fire marshal of some Pacific island.
Oh, you West boys. I think I saw your mother today. I tried to speak to her, and I was sure she heard me, but she turned her head and walked away.
It's a wonder she hasn't tried to run you out of town yet. As if she could. She would be no match for you, Butch.
That's very flattering. I was trying to be friendly.
No, honey, you know what I mean. You're very intense, smart, focused girl. Plus a pretty redhead.
Oh, well, you think so?
No girls around here are like you. I wish Bailey Johnson had you around to be my debate partner. We would have beaten everybody.
Yes, we would have.
And you laugh at my weird jokes too, so I think I'll keep you around. Mother probably wasn't thinking about her list or something. I wouldn't worry about it.
That's a better explanation, at least. Sam, you won't believe the terrible day I've had. First, the TMP dispatcher from Baird came by and gave me grief about a message the 8:40 train dropped by last night. It wasn't anything, but he just likes to fuss and thunder, like I had intended it to overlook him.
What is his problem?
Who knows? What a fathead. I think it's all about his age and my age, his being a man and my being a woman, and how our salaries are too close.
Do you want me to fight him? I bet I'll beat him with debate, but I can throw a punch or two for sure, especially with an older guy.
No, I will let you know when and if you are ever needed to fix something for me, okay? Good grief. I can handle the old geezers at work. Things are just changing too fast for them, I guess. They'd better get used to it, though, because I'm getting a raise.
That serves him right.
Sam, what kind of tree is that across the street? It looks kind of like a mesquite, but not quite. Before it lost its leaves, they were real wispy.
Oh, it's a desert willow. Really great tree. Kind of like a crepe myrtle. It blooms in the summer and the blossoms are pretty pink. A native to Texas and Mexico. It withstands long droughts too. Will live through anything. I really love them.
Do you know everything about everything?
No, but I know something about most things. Maxie, you have more moxie than anyone. I want to know the real you. What are your goals in life? What makes you tick? Tickety clock.
You act like you don't know me. I'm who I seem to be, just Maxie. My goals are to live my modern life on my terms, to be a railroad telegrapher and a Christian and maybe someday a wife and mother. I think I can do it all, that's what, with style. Yes, and bring my style along wherever I go.
You're admiring high there. Killer Diller with some good goals. I'm just glad you snuck those words, wife and mother, in there, just to give me some hope for the future. Okay, Chief? It looks like I'm due at basic training soon. Going to take the old T&P to Camp Walters. You going to miss me?
Of course. Who will come talk to me late in the evenings? This night shift is not all it's cracked up to be.
I'm making plans for the future, after the war. I was wondering if you'd be interested in being in my plans, in my future.
We've only known each other a few months, but you know I'm crazy about you. I'd say yes. After the war, we'll figure it out.
That's all I needed to know. Sure, we'll figure everything out. The timing, when, where, and after the war is over. It will be open selling for us, kiddo. It'll all be laid out in front of us for the taking.
That sounds right to me.
Okay. You will be receiving crazy love letters from basic training, miss, and I better receive answers to each and every one of them.
Of course. Now seal it with a kiss. Oh, I have to take a message.
Well, I'm in the Army now, and I'll be writing. Love you, Desert Willow Blossom.
Radio announcer enters.
Orson Welles was producing and acting in The Mercury Wonder Show, an onstage production for soldiers, which also starred Rita Hayworth. She had two younger brothers serving in World War II. On September 7th, when she was 25 and he was 28, the two ran off to the Marriage License Bureau in Santa Monica, California, just prior to their wedding on that same day. Wells is Hayworth's second husband.
Clyde, a week or so later. Max and Ruth Scott follow Maxine to the depot. They come across from the street at Maxine's rented room.
This is the depot where I, for the time being, have the night shift. I'm hoping to get day shift soon. We'll see.
It is very convenient to your room, Maxie. I'm glad you don't have to take a bus or anything to and from work. That makes it nice.
That's right. It's very convenient, but growing up in Fort Worth, you must miss the nice dress stores and shopping. And what about church? I think in your letters you said like the closest Lutheran church is in Abilene.
I'm enjoying the small town life so far. I can come and visit back home to do some serious shopping when I want.
Your dad hears that there are telegraph operator jobs in Fort Worth, both for T&P and other railroads, for operators with more than 2 years' experience.
I am doing just fine living on my own here. Why do you want me to move home?
We would just love to have you living closer so we could see you more often. We might be able to help you some too, you know.
Not that we think you need help, but we're always ready to help if needed. We miss your brother too, and it would help if we had more family around.
Yes, of course, I know that. But I feel this is right for me. Why can't you trust me that it is?
Enough of this right now. I believe we need to get to Abilene for the restaurant and overnight outing. You did pack a suitcase, didn't you, Max?
Yes,
Maxie?
Chief. I have the suitcase packed. Can't wait to have a weekend off.
We'd better get started.
Exit Scott's, enter radio announcer 1.
January 1944. Tarawa was secured at high cost. In Europe, hoping to break the impasse near the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Allied forces landed Anzio. General George Lucas took 9 days to strengthen the Allied position. Now the army is pinned down by the forces
The besieged Soviet Union city of Leningrad, where an estimated 1 million people had died from starvation, disease, and constant shelling, was finally fully freed from encirclement after almost 900 days.
Mickey Rooney, born Noonian Joseph Ewell Jr., September 23, 1920, is one of America's most prolific actors. He has starred in close to 40 films. Now Rooney has been drafted in the Army. He will serve entertaining the troops on stage and radio.
Now, an article from Ernie Pyle, combat reporter. These are the things that you at home need not even try to understand. To you at home, they are columns of figures, or he is a near one who went away and just didn't come back. You didn't see him lying so grotesque and pasty beside the gravel road of France. We saw him in the multiple thousands. That's the difference.
November 1943, Maxine's bedroom, Clyde, Texas, and simultaneously Camp Wolders, Texas. Sam is at basic training and wearing fatigues. Perky 40s music, such as Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree with Anyone Else But Me, plays. Maxine is wearing slacks and a blouse that has tails that are tied in the front. She sits cross-legged on the bed and writes. Both areas stay lit during the scene.
My dearest Sam, I hope you're taking care of yourself. By all means, do. I am thinking about all the young men who have recently joined the Army and Army Air Corps and all the girlfriends and wives and families they are separated from. It should help me not to feel lonely, but I can't say it has.
March 3rd, 1944. Hello, Maxie. How's things in the fair city of Clyde? Things are producing down here in a true Army style. Do what has to be done and let the rest go to heck.
There are more and more soldiers traveling on the trains lately, though. Can't wait until you come home after basic training. I'll bet you will have some tales to tell, and you may be stronger and able to run even faster. Will you?
I started into my 2 weeks processing to proceed gunnery. They will run us through the altitude chamber to see how well we get by on oxygen, and then guess what they are going to do for Sammy?
I heard from my brother Dick. He'd been in Africa, but now they're sending him to Sicily. He made the rank of captain, but I found out that his job had been really tough, identifying the dead after the battles. I just hate that for him, but he won't be doing it in the next place.
They think of the loveliest things. They got me out today for a look at my teeth and told me I would only have to have 10 filled and 2 jaw teeth pulled. I'm going to have to get hold of some hooch somewhere because I don't believe I can stand it.
Nothing new in Clyde, honey. Things seem to slow here, especially when I'm working the night shift. I don't think there are enough murder mystery paperbacks in the entire world to keep me busy.
Had a nice surprise a while ago. I wandered up to the mess hall to take on some of the Army's slum glummin', and who did I spy over across the hall but me old schoolmate John A. Christian, grandson of Uncle Bill Christian of our fair city. I walked over and elbowed him in true GI style and said, "What do you know, soldier?"
I've been doing some drawing and dress design lately, too. Mother taught me how to sew really well. It's something I enjoy from time to time. I'd better go for now, Sam. I miss you. Write when you can. Love, Maxine.
His face lit up in a big old smile. He finally managed to blurt, "Well, I'll be damned," he said. He said he'd been here for 16 months and hadn't seen a soul from up in God's country. We'll have to celebrate. Well, Butch, that's about all for now. Write when you can, the old man Sam.
Another letter. Dear Clickety-Clack. That silly boy. Barely time to write, honey. So sorry for the few days that you didn't get a letter.
We have learned all the basics of the Army, I guess, as they are reviewing now and about to send me to another school, gunnery school. I am to be a turret gunner for the B-24. We will be in gunnery school for 5 or 6 weeks, and I thought maybe...
You would like to rush this future of ours a bit?
Let's get married when I come back from basic.
And you can come with me to Laredo's gunnery school. What?
The guys say it's quite common that there are little apartments right off base for the married guys. We could at least get a start on the married life that way, and I'm missing you so badly. I think it would be great.
I'll let you think on it for now, but please have an answer ready for me when I hit Clyde. Booty! Booty!
Enter stage left, Booty Bodrio. I butchered that.
Boudreaux.
Boudrio.
Boudreaux.
Boudreaux. I am not French.
Or Cajun.
Parlez-vous for you?
I ain't none of those things.
What in the world? Maxine, what is it?
Booty, Sam wants to get married when he returns from basic and then have me go with him to Laredo to gunnery school.
Oh, hon. Wouldn't your parents hate missing your wedding? Oh, you crazy kids, just do whatever you're gonna do. That sounds great. You really love old Sam, don't you?
I do. And he's going to war. We don't have time to plan a silly wedding.
Let me read this letter then. My goodness. My.
2 weeks later, West family home living room, downstage right, or down right. Tom West and Esther West are seated. Faye West is sitting on the floor when Sam enters with a suitcase from Basic. Faye, where's dungarees? What the heck are those? Tom wears work pants.
Yeah.
I'm too young for this. Tom wears work pants and a shirt, black shoes. Esther wears a print dress and sensible shoes. Sam enters from stage left, dressed in fatigues.
Good. I was hoping to find you here together. Mom, Pop, I have to talk to you about something important.
Oh, no, there's plenty of time for talking, son. Esther, get Sam something to eat. Sure he's famished from the travel. Sit down, son. How's the army treating you?
No, I need to talk first, and this is about my future with my wife, Maxine.
Faye, you go outside and play now. Your wife? You told me you ran off and got married.
No, we haven't married yet, but we're going to get married right away so she can go with me to gunnery school in Laredo.
The hell you say? This is not happening. That girl is not a girl for you. She smokes. She wears red lipstick. Your family, your mother, would be embarrassed.
Dad, what are you talking about? Maxine smokes, but so do I, and so do you, and half the people we know. Those who don't smoke chew or dip snuff. What's the difference? Who cares anyway? Are you just judging her because I want to marry her?
Esther, talk some sense into this boy. You're going off to war anyway. You don't need to be married like Joe, more to worry about than guarding your own life. This makes me mad as hell.
Tom, just let the boy explain before you jump down his throat. You knew they were seeing each other. You never flipped your lid over that.
By God, I should have, I tell you. Now it's turned into a big damn mess, and there'll be hell to pay before it gets any better.
No, Dad. It's about to get a whole lot better. Maxine Scott and I will soon be married, and it's none of your business. Thank you very much. I will stay in touch, but it would be best that you not talk to me for a good long while. Mother, I'm sorry that you will miss the wedding.
Tom, don't let him leave like this.
Feels like it's too late for anything. I'm talking sense to the boy. God damn it.
Enter radio announcers left and right.
Mike, you're muted.
Come on, Mike.
Sorry, the dogs were making noise. In New York's theater world, the American Theater Wing of the Allied War Relief is helping to raise funds for the war relief and the war effort. Actresses helping included Tallulah Bankhead, Betty Davis, Lynn Fontaine, Helen Hayes, Katharine Hepburn, Hedy Lamarr, Gypsy Rose Lee, Ethel Merman, and the Andrews Sisters. America says thank you to our country's entertainers for their generosity.
Captain Glenn Miller, who has gone to Britain with the American band of the Supreme Allied Command, gives Londoners a treat by appearing with his band at a gala premiere of the new Bing Crosby film, Going My Way, at a West End movie theater. Proceeds from the premiere were used to aid London's Stage Door Canteen, soon to be opened. The band leader is leading his army band in a session of swing music during the Stage Door Canteen benefit.
A couple of days later, Clyde Methodist Parsonage. Wedding. Maxine and Sam are standing down center stage facing each other. Brother Crutchfield is upstage of them and holds a Bible, attending are Booty and Pete, French name. Downstage left a few steps. Maxine is wearing a beautiful baby blue suit with Italian lace on the collar and black accessories. This is the most dressed up we've seen her. Sam is wearing his uniform. Booty has a dress on, and Pete has put a jacket on top of his khakis and work shirt. The couple exchanges rings and kiss, and then the attendants break their formal poses and go to them and hug them. Lights fade. U.S. February 1944. Radio guys enter left and right.
February 1944. Monte Cassino was bombed. Germans launched a major counterattack on Anzio, threatening the American beachhead. Light cruiser HMS Penelope was torpedoed and sunk off the coast of Anzio with a loss of 415 crew.
Continuing February news, Leipzig, Germany was bombed by the Allies for 2 straight nights. The USS Cod sunk a Japanese merchant ship by torpedoes.
March 1944. On Borgerville, Japanese troops ended their failed assault on American forces on Hill 700.
Continuing March news, German forces occupied Hungary in Operation Margaret. Yugoslavian partisans attacked Trieste on the border of Italy and Slovenia.
Clyde Depot several weeks later. Sam has shipped out to Europe and Maxine has returned to works. After a few weeks living near Army Air Corps base, a wartime song like Till Then by the Mills Brothers, We'll Meet Again, or something else a bit slow and sentimental is playing as the following happens. Maxine is center stage going up the stairs to the depot after putting out a message. She carries the step stool. She places the stool in the room, gathers her things, then goes down the stairs again and waits for on the bench for her relief worker. She seems bored and her mind is elsewhere. To the left, Booty's in the 5 and dime checking out customers. Mildred walks up the stairs and motions to Maxine to go ahead, and Maxine walks to the 5 and dime. Music dies out.
Hey, Booty, anything new? Nothing with me. Did Cecil bring the mail by? So, no mail again? Looks like they could get the mail figured out. If they can deliver a bomb exactly where they want it, can't they get the mail delivered back home?
I know it's terrible, waiting for everyone. Remember, you're not in this alone. Over half of the men in the armed forces are married, I bet. Still, it is difficult. Don't mean to belittle that fact.
I know, and I shouldn't be feeling blue, but, well, I had to take 2 messages today to families of 2 Clyde boys who were wounded and didn't make it. The Methodist preacher went with me to deliver the messages. Those poor families. And I didn't even want to say this, but it could happen to anyone, even Sam. It's so awful. And what can we do but sit here and wait?
Listen, we're all keeping our hopes up about that Sam West. He has found a good thing here in you, sweet kid, and he'll rush back here just as soon as the war is over, ready for you to be his wifey.
You're right. I'm just whining. I'll be okay. Maybe I'll just get some sleep after I write a letter.
Radio announcers enter.
Captain Clark Gable, erstwhile film actor, faced the press in the Pentagon in Washington. Gable flew operational missions over Europe in B-17s to obtain combat film footage to be used for training purposes and has just returned to the U.S.
Jimmy Stewart, former movie star, has been sworn into the Army in 1941, celebrated his promotion to major by leading his bomber group in a great raid on Frankfurt, Germany.
The 5 and dime, late March 1944. At Rise, Booty, French name, is working at the Five and Dime store at a cash register. Faye West enter from left. She is 9 years old and wears a school dress and a bow in her dark hair. Maxine is in the Clyde Depot, backs to the audience.
Hey, Miss Booty, how are you today?
Real good, hon. How is the West family doing today?
We're good. We're mostly good, I guess. I hated that Joe and Sam are overseas. You know, I miss them. And Jack. But at least Jack is not at war, just DC. I thought we'd get a letter every day, but that's not the way the war is. Did you know that, Booty?
Yes, Miss Faye, I surely did. These are strange and tough days in the war.
Booty, do you know Sam's wife, Maxine? Oh, I know you do. She rents a room from you. What's she like? My daddy says she must be awful because she smokes. Is she? And why doesn't she visit with my family?
Whoa, wait a minute. Too many questions for me, Missy. If you want to know what Maxine is like, go on over to the Texas and Pacific Depot. She's working right now. Meet her and see for yourself what she is like.
Okay, sure. I will.
And tell her Booty sent you.
Faye exits Five and Dime and goes to the depot, up the stairs, and knocks at the door.
Come in, the door's open.
Are you Maxine West? I'm Faye West. Sam is my brother. I came to meet you for myself. Booty told me to come. I guess you're my sister-in-law.
Glad to meet you, Faye. I've heard a lot about you. Sam thinks you're pretty special. But he didn't tell me what grade you're in.
Oh, I'm in the 4th grade. I was voted my class's favorite and get to be in the school coronation, where they crown the king and queen of all the favorites. Me and Joe Bob Berry. You can come see the coronation.
Wow, that's exciting. How many kids are in your class?
16.
That's a good-sized class. Has your family gotten any letters from Sam lately? Or Joe?
A few, but not enough. We get about one every week from each brother. Have you gotten any? Sam's going to Nebraska and then to Italy.
Sure, newlyweds have to write each other. What do you hear from Joe? Sam always knows how Joe is doing, and I don't even know. Is he really in the Marianas now?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's by Japan, and he's the fire marshal.
What's your favorite subject in school, Faye?
Oh, I like everything. I'm good at school. I guess English is my favorite.
Great. I guess you like to read then. See all these? I love to read mysteries, and I have a ton, if you'd like to borrow any. Some are for older kids, but most are just good old whodunits, what Sam says.
Wow, we both like to read. I'll borrow one from you sometime. Right now I have a book that Sam gave me that I'm reading. He salvaged a bunch when he and Daddy cleaned up after the tornado that hit the school's library. He's got boxes of them in the shed, but I like whodunits.
Always keeps your interest? You can't wait to see?
Who is killed next?
Oh, hey, I have to do my job now. Thanks for dropping by. Glad to meet you, sister-in-law. And tell Booty, hey.
Lights dim on depot, enter announcers.
March 1944. Japanese troops retreated in Burma. Frankfurt, Germany was bombed with heavy civilian casualties.
April 1944. Both Budapest and Bucharest were bombed by the Allies. General Charles de Gaulle took command of the French forces. Soviet forces entered Odessa, Ukraine.
Continuing April news, heavy raids were led on Plostio-Romanian oil fields by the RAF and the USAAC. In May news, the Battle of Monte Cassino ended in an Allied victory. There were actually 4 battles for the small territory of the Abbey.
Continuing May news, German troops withdrew to the Hitler Line. Japanese retreated from Impal, India with heavy losses.
Simultaneously at Biggs Army Airfield, Maxine's bedroom, and the West living room, Mother's Day, 1944. A sentimental song plays again softly under the scene. Sam, center right on a cot, writing a letter to Maxine, and Maxine left, who writes from her bedroom, stage left. Esther is in the West living room. As they write and read to each other, all areas stay lit.
Biggs Army Airfield, Texas, May 14th, 1944. Dear Mommy, well, today of all days I should have liked to have spent at home with my mom. I didn't ever make much of a fuss about Mom, but when I really wanted some advice or help, it was Mom's apron strings that Sam always sought out. Dad and I would always work things out, man to man, but for those big things, I looked to my mother.
I used to decide to go see my mom from some heckish places, Washington D.C., Marfa, Tulia, etc. And it was then that, when I so decided, I would soon be there. Circumstances just won't allow such just now, but I hope we'll soon see the day when they do. Well, Mom, I'd better close now. Gotta get up at 3:30 for KP. Love, Sam.
Lincoln, Nebraska. Dear Maxie, how are you today, honey? Hope you're all swell and okay. I'm sorry about the mail situation, but, honey, we are rather busy these days. I was up until midnight last night, and we'll be that late tomorrow.
Dearest Sam, hello, darling. How's my sweetheart? Hope you're fine, honey. Goodness, take care of yourself. If I were there, I would. Today is Labor Day, and I'm celebrating by laboring. No, don't become alarmed, for I'm not doing it to any great extent.
They shoot a quick review of all the junk you had in basic and gunnery to you here before we can leave. By the looks of things, I'll be pulling anchor from these parts pretty soon. I've had some time this month financially. I guess we got your allotment this month, and it should have been either doubled or triple pay.
Faye came down and stayed last night while your mother went to church. She was plenty worried about school.
They took all my money. I drew $11.65 spending money pay, and I owe $10. I took the $1.65 and invested in a friendly poker game. Built it up to $30.
Every one of these soldier families have a half dozen kids, and they seem to think the depot is a public park. They get right out there in front and holler and scream and fight and fuss. Oh well, we will have a dozen just as bad. That is, if I ever live over other people's.
And I put the $30 into a cutthroat poker game and came out with $90. I took the $90 and went into a dice game and built it up to $178. And then I lost every blessed cent. Some fun. I did lots of business.
Charles Tate's here on leave. Deed is moving into Johnny's old apartment. She's going to have a baby in November. What do you want Santa Claus to bring you? Honey, is there anything you need or could use? Well, let me in on the secret.
Now Smitty is financing me to cigarettes until payday. He looks over to me every now and then and says, I told you so. Some lad. He wouldn't touch any of the evils of man. I miss my little willow blossom. All for now. Love, Sam.
Darling, I love you. Yes, I do too. Do you love me? Well, tough. Write when you can. I'm always in need of a letter from you. All my love forever, Maxine. P.S. Love ya.
Lights dim on the 3 areas. Enter announcers.
June 1944, a provisional French government was established. Allies entered Rome one day after the Germans declared it as an open city. German troops fell back to the Trasmian line.
June 6th, D-Day, 24,000 paratroopers and over 1,000 ships carried 176,000 men across the English Channel.
June 6th was the bloodiest day in U.S. history since the Battle of Antietam in the Civil War. 2,500 U.S. soldiers lay dead on French soil. In the Pacific Theater, the June Battle of the Philippine Sea showed the U.S. Fifth Fleet in a divisive battle over the Japanese Navy.
Clyde Depot a few days later. Maxine is showing Jean around Clyde and visiting with her. Maxine wears a print dress and Jean wears a navy dress. Both have lively lipstick. They enter from the Five and Dime and sit on the bench in front of the depot.
I guess you've seen the whole place, really. Not much to look at, but it's mine.
I really like your garage apartment and your landlady and her husband. That's a nice situation. And the work is what we thought it was going to be for the most part, isn't it?
Yes, I think so, except for the death notices. We finally are getting a new runner who will take all the telegrams, and a local preacher goes with him when there are those messages. I had to deliver a few at first. That was terrible.
Oh no. I've always had a runner. I think I might faint or something if I had to do it.
You just have to offer your condolences after they read the telegram and see if they need a doctor or anything.
I definitely could not do it, Maxie. You're so brave.
Hush. Let's get an ice cream and it'll be almost time for the movie. I think it's a double feature tonight. Are you ready for a long movie siege?
Sure, as long as there's popcorn. I never have ice cream and popcorn on the same day, but I'll make an exception for you.
I still have to get the skinny and all the young men in your life.
As if.
I know you better than that. You always have those secret admirers. Fess up. Now, who all is flirting with you over in Wild Horse?
If I knew of any, I would definitely flirt back. You know that.
You may need to travel over to Pico City to find more eligible young men.
They're all in the Army now, Maxie. I do see some cute military guys traveling on the train, but there is no time to get to know them.
I know. It was just luck or divine destiny that brought Sam to me. If he'd been any older, he'd already have been in the Army, I guess. Thank goodness it worked out.
Yes. I really thought I'd be the first of the two of us to get married. I thought you'd be a holdout for years, getting your fill of bachelorettehood before saying, I do. But I'm glad you found your lover boy. I can't wait to meet him.
You won't know what hit you, my girl. Now let's get on with the festivities.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
July 1944. Saipan was officially declared secured in the costliest battle in the Pacific to date. Minsk and Belarus was liberated by the Soviets. After heavy resistance, Caen, France was liberated by the British troops.
Continuing July news, Japanese are still resisting on New Guinea. Tokyo is bombed for the first time since the Doolittle raid of April 1942. And Field Marshal Rommel is badly wounded when his car is strafed from the air in France.
The Clyde Depot a few days later. Maxine takes a telegram that Sam is MIA. Maxine is wearing an olive green dress and a snood over her red hair. The telegraph noises are important as she's hearing her message.
Okay, my Sam, a telegram, kiddo.
Sounds of the telegraph receiver as she begins to breathe hard and tear up. She takes the message, barely able to write down the last part. No one else is in the depot.
Oh, Sam. Oh, no.
She is visibly upset. Sounds stop. She breathes deeply, then types up the telegram. Shaking, she puts the telegram in an envelope. She then sends the telegram to Beard. She then gets her sweater and purse, then taps the envelope on the door. Door still looks left and right. She shows growing concern until finally, Booty approaches the depot up the stairs. Maxine jumps out of the depot. She starts to say something about the telegram, but decides she'd start crying.
Booty, just stay here until another telegraph operator gets here from Baird. It should be 15 minutes. I have to personally deliver a telegram. Tell you later.
Maxine bolts out the door. Booty enters and sits down, shrugging. Lights dim, enter radio announcers.
Continuing July 44 news. President Roosevelt announced that he will run for a fourth term. General Hideko Tojo resigned as chief minister of the Japanese government as defeats mount. Emperor Hirohito asked General Kuniki Kuiyaso to form a new government.
August 1944. The Red Army isolated the Baltic states from East Prussia by taking Kaunas. Florence, Italy was liberated by American troops. The Marianas are now in Allied hands. Romania broke with the Axis powers and joined the Allies. The Germans surrendered at Toulon and Marseille in southern France.
Private Mickey Rooney attended a Hollywood movie premiere with his mother, Neil Pankey, on August 17, 1944. The actor is back in Hollywood after completing 3 months of basic training at Fort Riley, Kansas.
The West Clyde living room, right a few minutes later. Maxine is sitting on one of the chairs, still in her sweater, holding the telegram. She is tense. Enter Tom, Esther, and Faye West Wright. They are modestly dressed for church, returning just after noon.
Oh, come in, I guess.
Maxine, Daddy, Mother, this is Maxine, Sam's wife.
Please excuse me. I'm certainly not trying to disturb your Sunday, but I just took a very important telegram and wanted to share it with you.
Mrs. Samuel D. West, Clyde, Texas. The Secretary of the Army has asked me to express his deep regret that your husband, Corporal Samuel D. West, has been missing in action over Yugoslavia, September 13th, 1944, from his 30th mission. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, no. Daddy, where is he? Will he be okay? Is he in Italy?
Mother, finish reading, Faye.
Upon receipt of further information in this office, you will be advised immediately. Confirmation letter follows. The report that he is missing does not necessarily mean that he has been killed, as he may be a prisoner of war or temporarily separated from his unit.
I was so afraid something like this would happen.
Official reports that men or prisoners of war take some time to reach this country, and if he has been captured by the enemy, it is probable that unofficial news will reach you first. If you receive any unofficial information of his whereabouts, please report it as soon as possible. Edward Russell, Major General, USA, the Adjutant General of the Army. Maxine, did you take this message yourself?
Explain it to me better.
I mean, we don't know exactly where he is. Lost from the rest of his crew, probably. If he's captured, doesn't mean he's dead. He will make it.
At least we can agree on that. Sorry.
That's right. Faye, we'll have to continue to pray for Sam and move him to the prayer list for boys missing in the action at the church. Alma will let the Baird Church know, and they will also pray. Maxine, do you believe in prayer?
Yes, ma'am, I do believe. I'm a Lutheran, and Sam says it's closest to Methodist of all the Clyde churches. And believe me, I will be one fervently praying wife. I surely will. I hope we can share information that we get, any letters or such from the Army, but for now, I have to go get myself together.
Esther starts to shake hands with Maxine, but Tom quickly steps between the two. He hands the telegram to Maxine.
I have to tell you now that when Sam returns home to us, I plan to have him get your marriage annulled. So you may not want to shake our hands.
What does annulled mean?
Nothing. We'll change your play clothes.
Lights dim on West living room. Enter announcers.
September 1944, Canadian troops captured Dieppe, France. Allied troops entered Belgium. Brussels was liberated by the British Second Army. Lyon was liberated by the French and American troops. Antwerp was liberated by the British 11th Armored Division. The Warsaw Uprising continues.
Continuing September news, the blackouts in Britain have been downgraded to dim outs. Luxembourg was liberated by the U.S. First Army. 2 Allied forces met at Dijon, cutting France in half. The first Allied troops entered Germany at Aachen.
Continuing September news, Soviet Baltic offensive began. American Marines landed on Pilua in the Palau Islands. The Red Army entered Sofia, Bulgaria. Brest, France, an important channel port, fell to the Allies. Nancy, France was liberated.
Continuing September news, Germany surrendered at Boulogne. Americans took Ulithi Atoll in the Caroline Islands. In October 1944 news, Soviets entered Yugoslavia. Allies landed on the island of Crete, and Athens was liberated by the EAM.
Lieutenant Henry Fonda, former Hollywood movie star, relaxed in a South Pacific area recently where he is now on active duty on the staff of Vice Admiral J.H. Hoover, U.S. Navy commander of the forward area, Central Pacific. Fonda joined the Navy as an ordinary seaman.
At the Five and Dime store a few weeks later, Esther enters the Five and Dime store where Booty is working. Esther wears a house dress, and Booty is dressed similarly.
Booty, I have a favor to ask you, if you don't mind. I need to share these letters and their information with Maxine. Tom insists that I not talk to her personally.
Esther, this is ridiculous. Maxine is Sam's wife now. You have to work out your differences and at least be cordial with each other. We are all Christians, and we need to get along, especially when we all love our Sam West.
Booty, believe me, I am working on Tom in this matter, but I am nowhere close to the point where I can do what should be done. It sure won't help to have him furious and raising Billy Hell in the house with Faye there. Please, help me get this to Maxine for now.
I see your predicament. I will try to explain it the best I can. For now.
Sam's crew members and their wives are writing, trying to find out where their boys are too. Some of them. And some are sending information so we can try and figure it out. Most of the crew have met Maxine, and I also want to see if she's received letters too.
I think she's mentioned some to me, so I can tell you a general yes, but none of the particulars.
Now, this one is from a lady in Desdemona, Texas. That's near Stephenville. It's from the navigator's wife, a girl named Jackie, but the navigator wasn't in the plane when they were shot down. He had flown with another group, and his wife sent the picture that was taken of this whole crew.
She will love this.
She speaks very highly of Sam and hopes all the boys get home soon. Oh, and here's one from the pilot, Robert Sandifer.
Wait. I know Maxie told me about him. She got a letter from him, too, and said that a few of them who bailed out last got carried away by the wind over the hill, and they escaped and made it back to the others in Italy.
Yes, he told me that, too, and that he took a week longer to get there than Phil Cook, McGrack, and Terry, and that they had written Maxie, I guess, already.
Esther, you really need to talk to Maxie yourself. Can you not take a deep breath and do it?
I dare not, Booty. I cannot do it just now. Oh, and listen how he speaks about Sam. He was sincerely one of the finest and upright young men I have known. He was never one to complain and always did his work with a smile, helping the other boys when he could.
Esther, it sounds like he thinks Sam is dead.
No, Booty. He just says that after this, he wishes he could do something to speed the return. He thinks they were captured. He wants to find the address of Robert Smith's family. I need to find out if Maxine has it.
Okay. I will remember to ask her if she has Robert Smith's address.
I also got a letter from Carmen Clary. She's from Pennsylvania. She got the same letter from the War Department saying that they went missing on September 30th or 13th. She hasn't heard from anyone else.
It's so difficult to piece together what has happened to our Sam. We just get scraps of information from here and there. It's disheartening.
I've got to get going. Thanks for helping me, Booty, and I promise I'm trying to make things better between Tom and Maxie.
Clyde Depot a few days later. Maxine is in the depot typing, and Shorty Lofton, her boss, enters up the stairs.
Our lucky day. She's decided to come in and work today.
Good morning, Mr. Lofton. I do need to talk to you about calling in the Baird swing operator the other day. I hope you'll understand.
Full-time employees don't really understand. You're just calling someone in to cover part of your shift, Miss Scott. Mrs. West, I mean. This is the job we hired you to do, not the Baird swing operator.
Mr. Lofton, I had just taken a telegram to my mother-in-law that said my husband of 7 months is now missing in action in Yugoslavia. So I hope, in keeping with the spirit of pulling together to support our military men, you will be understanding about an hour that I called in a sub so I could tell my husband's family, Sam's family, that he is missing in action, and to refresh my face so I could carry on appearing professional as usual.
You know, we have many railroad employees in the situation of having family members overseas, and those whose family members were killed in action.
I certainly do know that, and I would hope that you would give any one of them time off when needed to help them deal with the news they received within the hour. I seem to remember that Miss Norwood had taken off some time to get herself together after a breakup with a boyfriend before moving to live with her sister.
Perhaps that was so, but remember, you were given a few weeks of those 7 months you've been married to accompany your husband to his gunnery school and another school, I believe. So you see, we have left ourselves open to other employees. We are talking about how you haven't been working all that many weeks straight.
Perhaps you should remind anyone who is talking about me that 1, it is not Christian to gossip, and 2, that I came here with much more experience than anyone seems to realize. That experience has qualified me for the time off and for the pay raises, in case they also might be concerned about my salary.
Yes, Maxine, we know your experience and your salary.
I know you would, sir, but I don't know why any other railroad employees would. I haven't told them. I'm not trying to lord it over anybody. I'm not like that. But I feel I am also a human and deserve the simple kindness due any other human in this situation. I will gladly volunteer to hold down the fort for another operator or ticket agent even, who needs a few hours off due to upsetting news of the war.
And here I thought you would cuss me out, Mrs. West. Anyway, let's hope you can stick it out now until the end of the war. I'm tired of hearing all the guff. Maybe you should just take your experience and get a job back in Fort Worth.
That is one idea, sir. Thanks for that. I'm not leaning in that direction right now, though, I should tell you.
When does the mail go out?
Mildred puts it out about 8 a.m. Do you need something to go to today?
No, just keeping up with it for the job. Good day, Maxine.
It's more like good night to me, sir. Have a nice day.
Lights dim depot enter announcers.
November 1944. Recent fighting in the German Hürtgen forest. 33,000 American soldiers were lost in just weeks. U.S. planes bombed Singapore. Aircraft carrier USS Lexington was heavily damaged by kamikaze attacks.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt won an unprecedented 4th term as U.S. president. General Patton's troops and tanks crossed the Moselle River and threatened Metz. The German battleship Tirpitz was sunk in Norway.
The war in Italy is at a stalemate due to heavy rains. Antwerp is now a major supply port for the Allies. The Allies obtained control of Ravenna, Italy. Units of the Air Group 80 from USS Ticonderoga flew 7 strikes against the Japanese in northern Luzon in the Philippines.
5 and dime store. Booty is waiting for Maxine to come in so she can pass the information on from Esther.
Here you are.
Hey, Booty. How's your day?
I am sent on a fool's errand. Is why I'm here waiting for you.
What are you talking about?
Your mother-in-law came by with these for you to look at and had a question about an address if you know it. They are from Sam's crew members and their families. Everybody's trying to find out if the boy is alive.
Crap. Sorry to get you in the middle of this. She wouldn't even speak to me face to face?
Evidently, Tom is the one who's calling the shots on this, and he's gotten his nose all out of joint. Esther's scared to cause more loud hell raising in the house, so she's working on him. But it doesn't sound like she's getting anywhere fast.
I know some of these already because I got some exactly like them. I met most of these people in Laredo and El Paso.
I just hope this horse hockey doesn't go on much longer. I told Esther what I thought about it, but she was petrified, nearly. This is not right, Maxie.
Booty, no, it's not, but that certainly isn't your fault, and I don't think it's mine either. So let's just see how long it will take them to wake up in the real world.
That's right. Don't you dare start playing their foolish games.
Lights dim on 5 and dime. Enter announcers.
December 1944. Band leader Glenn Miller went missing over the English Channel. The Battle of the Bulge began as Germans tried to break through the Ardennes region. Bastogne, an important crossroad, was surrounded. Belgian transport ships SS Leopoldville was sunk off the coast of France.
Soviets began the siege of Budapest. General Dwight D. Eisenhower has been given command of combined Allied forces in Europe. Great news is coming out today as Hitler's forces have begun to retreat from Normandy. Paris, held captive since 1940, is finally liberated.
Clyde Depot just a few weeks later. Faye and Maxine are in the depot, looking at a magazine together, talking about a dress Maxine will make Faye for the coronation. The telegraph receiver starts sounding.
Oh, Faye, I have to take this message. Just look at the other dresses and see if you're sure you've settled on the design. Faye, it's about Sam. Oh, good. Oh, yes.
Maxine's relieved. Faye drops the magazine on the floor and stands closer to Maxine. At length, Maxine lets out a huge breath.
Faye, girlie, your brother, Samuel D. West, is okay. He's safe in a German POW camp in Poland somewhere. Where's that atlas? Run and tell your mother. I'll be there at the house in about half an hour. He's alive and safe. Now we know that.
Faye exits right.
Oh, dear Lord, keep him safe. Where is that atlas? Oh, here. North Poland. Well, it used to be Poland. Okay. Gross, Taichau, Stahl, Luft 4. Okay.
Stage center right, representing Stalag Luft IV, a German prisoner of war camp. The scrim shows shadows of barbed wire fences. Sam, Robert Smith, Joseph Bailey, and Harry Dozeman are at the yard of the camp. They wear light army coats.
Did you get the briefing about our letters home?
I believe they called it the Nazi system of lies.
Oh, sure. They censor it. Won't mail a letter to your loved ones if it, 1, says you were wounded, 2, says you're being mistreated, or 3, tells any other truth that would be in. Oh, and please ask for food from home so they can serve it to their officers.
Well, at least we can get word to our families that we're alive.
For whatever time period, that's still the truth. But don't forget the special arts and crafts opportunities given us. I'm painting a great work of art in the hut with squashed bugs. I wait until they get to the perfect spot, then wham, they become paint.
Hey guys, here comes a Mersmith. No, a Fokker. Let's salute it.
Sam and all the POWs move a few steps left and then see the plane. They hold their pointing hands up, pretending they are machine guns, and verbally as though children are playing machine guns.
Damn, missed another one.
That's okay, fellas. We'll shoot one of them SOBs down soon.
Hey fellas, shh, listen. Coming from the Larg B with the Brits, where the Brits are.
They listen, and the Brits are singing, "There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover."
They're not bad. Better than our version of your San Antonio Rose.
Do not speak unkindly of my good old hillbilly music. We just need Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys to sing it and to play the fiddles in the background. Also helps to have some hooch.
I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse.
Too bad. The carts already got to them. Ain't 'em with the sauerkraut.
They laugh. The Germans did eat horse meat and they are aware of it. Then suddenly, Sam seems morose.
You have to laugh or you'd cry all the time.
Yeah, it's really kind of sad that both sides are starving to death. At least they have a few potatoes. We get potato peel soup. Oh, and some sawdust bread.
Don't badmouth the delicacy of my dreams. All that's missing is the butter, the yeast, the wheat, and never mind. At least we're alive.
Maxine's bedroom and simultaneously West's living room a while later. A sentimental song plays softly under the letters. Maxine, with a gown and robe, sits on her bed and reads Sam's letters. Esther is dressed in a house dress as she reads from the West living room.
Oh goodness, this is dated before he was even captured. Dear Maxine, hope this finds you all swell and all right, as I'm sure it will. You'd better be all right, or you'll have to answer to me. I, personally, am up to and above my usual standards.
Susan, you're muted.
Dear Mommy, I received your letter yesterday and was, of course, very glad to hear from you. It's about the first note from home in over a month, but it takes a while to get us located. I think now that they have my new address, I should get mail in 8 to 10 days, which is very good considering.
We have been having quite a time. This area of Italy is beautiful, and we went fishing and boating yesterday. While the pilot was the only one to catch a fish, we all had fun rowing in the lake.
A while back, I was in a huge formation that flew over Der Vaterland. It's a nice, pretty-looking country with hundreds of small towns, much like the northern part of the States. They didn't give us much opposition. Sometimes they tossed some scrap iron our way, just enough to scare the heck out of you. But it takes a direct hit to knock you down, and they are rare.
Got a hold of a news bulletin today, and the war looks better with the new invasion. I hope we can soon get this deal wound up and I can get back to the sweetest little wife in the world. Well, baby doll, I love you, and with that, I will close. All my love, Sam.
They put us in a suit that is about like a suit of mail that the oldest knights used to wear, only streamlined to suit the times and needs. The boys all remarked how pretty the little black puffs of smoke were way down there. The puffs were separated from the sounds and seemed really innocent and sweet, like little gray cottontails.
Sorry. And here's the telegram I got today. Government Auxiliary, Washington, D.C., November 1st, 1944. Mrs. Samuel D. West, report just received through the International Red Cross states that your husband, Corporal Samuel D. West, is a prisoner of war of the German government period. He is being held in Stalag Luft 4 near Gross-Tykov, German-occupied Poland. Letter of information follows from Provost Marshal General Dunlop, Acting Adjutant General. Oh, I'd better write Mother and Dad a letter.
Maxine says she's up to see you occasionally. How is she getting along these days? Look after her, Mommy. She's all I have now, but after all, who could ask for more? She's a good cook, but may need to get some help on sewing and the like. Well, Mommy, I could ramble all night, but I must close now. Love, Sam. Sam. How do I stop this stupid war between Tom and Maxie?
Lights dim on Maxie and Esther. Enter radio announcer 2.
January 1945. Germans have begun a surprise offensive in northern Alsace. Japanese increased their kamikaze tactics against U.S. naval forces. U.S. Navy attacked on Formosa. German offensive Norwind crossed the border into Alsace. German B-29s bombed Tokyo again.
Continuing January news, Americans landed on Luzon and experienced more kamikaze attacks on the Navy. The battle to regain control of Poznan began in Poland. The Red Army crossed the Oder River and are now only 50 miles from Berlin.
Well-known film star Sabu, Staff Sergeant Sabu Dastigar, now serving as an aerial gunner attached to the 13th U.S. Air Force. U.S. Air Force, on active service in the Pacific, rehearsed with Bob Dyer, radio comedian, for a radio show while on leave in Sydney, New South Wales.
By depot a few days later, Faye goes up the steps, knocks, and enters. Maxine is there reading.
Hello, Faye. Come in. Sit down. I have a Coke somewhere here.
Maxie, my family got a letter from Sam. It's one of those postcard type affairs. I snuck it out of the house. Here, I'll read it to you. It says Creeks. Is it right? Am I pronouncing that right? Anybody know?
Go for it.
J. Langen End Post. That's a long word. It was checked over by 3 different Germans who stamped it. See?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It's dated November 27, 1944. Dear folks, well, here's Sammy again with no more news. Still okay, got plenty to eat and good clothes. Hope all's okay there with you. Tell Dad to go see Bill and his folks. Those are our cousins that live north of town. And tell him I am okay. And see if they have heard from Bob. Well, I had better close now. All swell here. Love, Sam.
I wish I could believe all is swell there. Oh, Faye, thanks for sharing that with me, but I feel bad about your sneaking it out of the house. Please don't do that again. You can just tell me the gist or what you remember, honey.
Thanks, Maxie. I'll be going. Bye-bye.
Lights dim on depot, up on radio, guys.
For the first time, Shirley Temple got kissed in a grown-up fashion by Jerry Shane, an ex-Marine from Grand Rapids, Michigan, who plays a bit part in the movie called Kiss and Tell, January 19th, 1945. This happened at a war fundraising kissing booth. Some observers at the historic occasion suspected that Shirley's performance was backed by a little previous necking experience, but Shirley wouldn't admit it.
Mrs. Alita Sullivan, mother of the 5 Sullivan brothers who lost their lives in the sinking of the cruiser USS Juneau, worked alongside actress Marlene Dietrich as they served servicemen in the USO Hollywood Canteen recently. Sullivan and her husband also visited the filming of a movie based on the lives of their sons.
Maxine's bedroom and Stalag Luft 4 POW camp in the former Poland simultaneously. Maxine in a nightgown and robe, and Sam in light uniform. Maxine is stage left on her bed, and Sam is stage right on a cot in the POW camp. A dream sequence places them together between the 2 areas dancing. At one point, they move mysteriously from stage left and stage right to a pivot point downstairs, like a triangle. So lighting will be needed in most of the downstage areas.
Dearest Maxine, just a few lines to let you know of me. I am now in a prison camp in Germany-occupied Poland. I was sent here after leaving my ship, which I did without so as much a cut or bruise. Yeah, sure. Pay no attention to the wounded gut.
Dear Sam, how's the better half on this fine autumn day? I hope your spirits are in a better condition than mine. Honey, there's not a single thing wrong with me except being lonesome. Golly, I'd give anything to see you.
All I got was a good scar, and that's a good scare, and that's an easy thing to cure. We have a pretty nice life here as prisoners of the German Air Corps. I can't believe I am writing these words. I have good barracks, no heat, and bare bunks, though. A couple of blankets.
It's raining today, and I feel bluer than ever when it rains. I'm going to have to buck up, though, for this may be the beginning and nowhere near the end. Heaven forbid. There's no news in Clyde as per ever and ever. Oh, there's a new operator. Her name is Mildred Laverne Ham. She was 16 in August, is 5'8", blonde, cute, never had a date, can telegraph, and originated from Aubrey.
And good food. Oh, no, not much of that. And the Red Cross furnishes us with new uniforms, cigarettes, and more food. Well, unless the Germans need them, we haven't gotten any clothes yet and little food.
Sam, I just think of you all the time. There should be a law against it, but I do enjoy it for your very pleasant thought. I love you. Write when you can. I'll close for now with all my love forever. Maxine. P.S. Kisses. I can't even say anything really worth a blessed cent except I love you. Stupid Clyde news. Guess you wonder a bit, but it's totally unimportant. Are you being tortured? Will you live over this ordeal of war? This war has to end soon. I can't take it.
Well, my dearest, my space is almost gone, so I close. My thoughts are always of the sweetest little redhead in the world and our plans for the future. So be sweet. Regards to the folks and all my love, Sam.
Oh, Sam, I miss you. I need you.
Maxie, I miss you. I think I can even smell your perfume, my darling. Come to me.
Sam, I hear you. Meet me at the alley.
There can be some music, strange or magical. They both stand up in a fretful, deep sleep, and they look not at each other, but at a point downstage between the two. This is their rendezvous point. During the next lines, they slowly move, as though hypnotized to the point. They move dreamlike. Then they will dance at their rendezvous point.
It seems so long since I heard you.
Is that your favorite band I hear?
Yes, I hear a little dance music, and I see my girl across the room.
I feel younger suddenly and want to hold you close and dance.
Maxie?
He holds out his hand and hers is there. They go smoothly into a dance embrace and start a dreamlike few moments of slow dance.
Sam, so good to hold you. Dance with you, sweetheart.
My darling.
After a few turns, the song ends and they part with their hands holding and leaving each other last longingly. There can be a bit more music, but slower. Their hands are held out to the other as they dreamlike go back to their beds. Then their hands drop simultaneously and they lie in their beds simultaneously. Lights and music slowly dim. Radio guys enter.
January news continued. 46 American B-29 bombers based near Calcutta, India, attacked a railroad bridge near Bangkok, Thailand, and other targets in the area. The Japanese increasingly use kamikaze tactics against the U.S. naval forces.
The British commander in Athens, General Ronald Scobie, accepts a request for a ceasefire from the Greek People's Liberation Army. This marks the end of the Decemvriana, resulting in clear defeat for the Greek left.
Burgess Meredith, the Hollywood film star, is serving as a public relations officer with the Air Transport Command of the U.S. Army at the U.S. Army headquarters in London. Actress Gloria Swanson wed William N. Davey on January 29, 1945. Congratulations to the newlyweds.
Salagluft 4. Sam, Smitty, Bailey, and Dozeman are center right in a bit more tattered clothing and cold weather outside. They stamp and rub their hands and arms. Still, they are outside getting some air.
You know, I no longer think about how bad it is to be so hungry, but I sure thought it was funny hearing the commandant's wife calling air
Katze.
Katze.
Yeah, that little kitty ain't coming back, but he sure made for a tasty supper last night.
Oh, I think playing cards might be better than listening to the gas. After all, I mean, do you realize that we each know every one of the stories of our whole room, almost word for word?
Along with their favorite music, their love life, and the name of all their grade school teachers. I'm a shoe-in for West. I know every word his little desert willow blossom has said to him.
Hey, there's another Nazi plan for our shooting practice, boys.
All put hands up and make machine gun noises when suddenly the plane explodes. So sound of plane exploding, and on a scrim, a video of a plane exploding. Sound effects important here. Men are exuberant, really celebrate, and feel validated they shot one down.
Hot dang. We finally got one. We shot the SOB down. Woohoo! Watch out. Here come the guards.
Hallelujah. Amen. Amen.
All right, yeah, come on, old boys. Big Stoop will box our ears if he catches you.
Lights fade as POWs exit running. Clyde Depot the next day. Maxine in a dress a bit less stylish and up-to-date than her usual. This reflects her state of mind. Perry Wade enters. At 15, he is eager to please and dressed in khakis and a dress shirt. He is the runner.
Mike, you're muted.
Hey, Maxine, you missed the dispatcher and a conductor who were looking for you. They seemed really mad about you calling the Baird girl to cover you for an hour the other day.
No, I caught Shorty. I spoke to him frankly. Did they just flip their wigs? Why, the very idea. They can kiss my derriere.
That's precisely what I thought you'd say, but I wonder if you really would be happier to wait until Sam comes home in Fort Worth. I don't know.
Harry, I sent for the preacher, Brother Crutchfield, to come. You and he have to take some telegrams to some people.
Thanks for sending the preacher with me. I don't like going by myself.
Brother Crutchfield enters.
Hello, Pastor. How are you? I know Perry is thankful for your help. I had to go by myself for a few early on.
At least I know these families, and they are Christians, even though their hope for a soldier's safe return is gone. They all have hope to see each other in heaven again.
Lights dim on Depot. Enter radio announcer 2.
February 1945 in Europe. The coldest and snowiest weather in memory, or winter in memory. Stalag Luft 4, a German prisoner of war camp of 8,000 Allied soldiers in former Poland, began evacuations on a forced march due to Russian forces approaching closely. Temperatures in Germany have reached -13. Allies do not know where they are headed, maybe Berlin.
Clyde Depot. Maxine is at work feeling blue. Maxine, dressed in a normal work dress at the desk, and Booty and Maxie's old friend, Jean Bishop, enter the stairs.
Jean, I can't believe it's you. So great to see you. My best friend always.
Maxie, it's been so long, and I'm glad I could drag myself away from work.
My work here is done. Jean, you know where to find me, and I hope you'll both come to lunch tomorrow at my house.
Oh, Booty, thanks for bringing Jean. Jean, I'm so glad to see you. I've needed to talk to you so much. Everything is crazy right now, and I can't decide what I should do. Everyone here is telling me to give up and go home, even Booty.
What do Sam's parents advise? How do you get along with them?
Sam's parents, they barely even speak to me. Sometimes they do not, and I'm so miserable waiting for any news at all. Did you hear that they were marching his whole BOW camp around Germany? It's a forced march.
Yeah, Booty told me. Oh, Maxie, I can't believe he has to endure such a thing. Where are they headed?
Where are they going? No one knows anything. There's no sense to anything in this damn war, Jean. You need to know that. Outright, clearly, no sense.
I know it surely does seem that way. That's for certain. You poor kiddo.
And there's no Lutheran church here, and I'm lonely. Everything is horrible. What can I do?
Maxine, sweetie, These are such tough times. You need to be with your parents. With Max and Ruth, you should let the Clydeites have their little podunk town here and go back to Fort Worth. There are better newspapers there to get news from the war, and you could probably work at the railroad office there too. They're very busy these days.
I'm under such pressure all the time. Maybe I shouldn't even work anymore until the war is over. But I want to be strong. I want to be as strong as Sam will have to be to make it back. Everyone is telling me what to do, giving advice, and I appreciate it, but I have to decide for myself what to do. Really, who I am, I guess.
Well, when have you ever had to figure out who you are? What's going on?
I'm just extra stressed, I guess. Plus the job junk. They think it's against the law for a woman to get paid more than a family man. I'll figure it out. Now tell me about Johnny, and I'll tell you about Dick and Sam and Clyde and the TMP. Let's go get a milkshake, and I'll get started. There's Mildred now.
Exit Maxine and Jean, stage right. Enter radio announcers 2.
Continuing in February news, in Dresden, the Allies led incendiary bomb attacks. April, firebombing began in Japan, and the Battle of Okinawa saw the worst losses of the war. 92,000 Japanese soldiers, 100,000 Okinawa civilians, and 12,000 U.S. soldiers died, with another 60,000 Americans wounded.
Exit radio announcer 2. Enter Maxie and Jean. Maxie and Jean have gone to get ice cream cones. They enter with the last parts of the ice cream cones to sit in front of the depot on the bench.
So it's been tough on Dick and Johnny, too. Poor Dick is counting and identifying dead soldiers. I know. And on Sam's brother, Joe. I guess on every soldier. And on us back home. How are your folks in Fort Worth?
Oh, Maxie. They still see me as their baby girl. It drives me crazy. But I guess we'll always be that to them since we're their youngest, won't we? I don't go see them all that much anyway.
That's true. I thought I would get home more than I do. I know they would love it if I just moved in with them until Sam comes home. But then I would only be more of an adjustment after that, I guess.
You know what I advise? What support are you getting here in Clyde? You need someone in your corner to come home to, even until Sam comes home. You need your parents. Grown or not, we need some help and support.
Jean, everyone seems to be against my being here but Sam. And I can't really see him fitting in Fort Worth, to be truthful either. But I have to figure out how to make it work or where we can fit together. I'm a married woman, Jean. All these great folks are telling me what to do, but they don't know me. They're not me, and they're not Sam.
But you can figure those things out after he gets back, I think.
I have to disagree with you here, Jean. I have to make my life a good life until he gets back here so we can make our life good together again. And I have to stop pouting, pull up my pink panties, and get on with becoming worthy of Sam and the way he pictures me.
No. I'm thinking you need help. Support.
Jean, you're wasting your breath, kid. You've met my parents. I come from some sturdy stock. So does Sam. If he can march around Germany and be a prisoner, the least I can do is stand up to my responsibilities. He thinks I'm all moxie and sharp, and I can darn well act the part until he gets back, and afterward too.
But you're not in charge of your job. His parents, the war, that's just too much, Maxie.
I'll show those railroad yahoos the way they're dealing with a real railroad employee, one above their pay grades. And all that podunk Clyde yokels who might feel better about themselves if I weren't here to show them some true grit. They can kiss my derriere too.
Tell them, Maxie, that's right.
Sam is the love of my life, and I'm his, and we will be strong enough, so help us God. Oh, come on, Jean.
I knew you were going to stay.
Lights dim on depot. Enter announcers.
April 1945. President Roosevelt has died. Harry S. Truman has become the 33rd President of the United States.
U.S. and Soviet forces have linked up at Torgen on the Elbe River. Germany has been cut in half. The Russians entered Berlin.
Ernie Pyle wrote, I've almost reached the point where I've had it. As soldiers and flyers say when, they can't take it any longer. I'd quit it and come home for good, except I don't suppose I could live with myself if I did and would gradually go nuts. If I can just see the European war out, I think I might feel justified in quitting the war. It was only by a miracle that some correspondents on the beachhead landing weren't killed.
Five and Dime Depot, May 1945. Booty finishes logging the Five and Dime, and she and Faye are approaching the Clyde Depot. Both are dressed casually. Maxine is in the depot and hears them when they are close.
Miss Booty, I just need to know what's happening with Sam. Does no one in America know where he is or if he's okay?
Honey, how many times have I wondered much the same thing? We can only hope and pray that Sam's alive.
Faye, it's a telegram from your brother Jack in D.C.
Maxine West, you tell me now what that telegram says. Is Sam alive?
May 3rd, 1945. Mrs. Sam West. I am overjoyed to report that I viewed a newsreel last night at a D.C. movie showing POWs that had been liberated in Germany marching into a U.S. barracks near Paris.
A movie? What?
One soldier that passed the cameraman was Samuel D. West. Yes, Sam is alive, liberated, and now with the U.S. Army near Paris. You will soon hear from the War Department, but know I recognized my brother for certain, Jack West. Faye, go tell your parents.
Come on, Faye. Let's go tell Esther and Tom.
Booty takes Faye and they exit quickly. Lights dim. Radio announcers enter.
May 1945. The announcement has come out of Germany. Adolf Hitler is dead. He has ended his own life in his bunker on the last day of April.
And on May 7th, Germany has surrendered. The Reich that was promised to last 1,000 years has lasted fewer than a dozen. VE Day is proclaimed May 9th as victory in Europe was celebrated.
Letters from Sam in Paris and Maxine in Clyde. One of the sentimental songs plays softly. Sam on cot, center right. He is a bit gaunt. Actually, he has lost 35 or 40 of his former 149 pounds. He is writing letter after letter. Maxine is in her bedroom. Starting here for the letters, 2 areas remain lit, and Maxine's bedroom is lit with her reading and writing.
Oh, blessed day. Sam, what Jack saw was the truth. You've been liberated. Oh, how fabulous. Department of the Army. Liberated. Now in France, an American camp Lucky Strike, awaiting transportation. Just the sound of it is so fabulous. Will, they say how long you have to wait? No, just getting proper medical and dietary needs and housing. At least that.
May 18th. Dear Butch, just to keep up the old morale, I thought I'd better write to the old woman, as my thoughts turn to her more and more. Yep, with good luck I will be with you by the end of next month, possibly before, but put no faith in any date before then.
My dearest Sam, I first received a telegram from Jack that you were alive. He had seen you on a newsreel before a movie in D.C. So amazing.
No new developments in France. I am still sitting around getting as fat as a pig. I never had such an appetite in my life, and the cook department sure don't stand short. They give you plenty. Well, I'm out of space, so I suppose it would be good to stop this thing now. Love, Sam.
I thank God that he recognized you, for I don't believe I could have stood worrying about your safety any longer. Now all I have to endure is whatever time it takes them to get you home.
There are definitely some problems ahead with my health, and I want you to be aware and ready for that. The Germans wouldn't let us mention anything about our wounds in our letters, but I was wounded when we jumped out of the plane and were captured. I hurt my gut pretty badly and didn't get proper medical care for it, so I'll probably have to have surgery in Texas somewhere when I get back.
Dear Sam, I'm so anxious to see you, to hold you, my dear. My arms simply ache with missing you, my whole being, really.
And that robust, slim young man you married, he is severely undernourished and a bit pathetic now, I'm afraid. We have suffered some severe treatment, for sure. I only hope that my problems will not affect you much.
My dear Sam, you write me of the troubles we may have to face in the future due to your health problems and things you've encountered during these months. Don't doubt me for even one moment.
The forced march was a horrible experience. In 3 months, we marched over 500 miles. I had frostbite on my feet, and they tell me that might cause severe circulation and heart problems when I get older. But I'll be with you, so I hope we can get through it all together.
Whatever problems you have, we will find the solutions together. Please don't give it a second's worry. I'm here to make up for whatever horrors you have been through.
At least I'm alive. Over 1,000 men on the march died. Sorry to be somber, but I think you need to know this ahead of time. Sending all my love, Sam.
Sam, remember why you call me Chief and Butch? I'm strong. I'll be your rock when you need one. If you cry, I'll be a cool breeze to dry your tears. I'll be whatever you need, and I'll never stop.
Dear Maxie, I figured out some things I've learned too. I've learned that once liberty has been lost, nothing is important, not even life. I learned that even our very poorest people are living really high compared to the rest of the world.
You call me the desert willow blossom. I'm not the blossom, Sam. I'm the desert willow tree. Strong, but willowy, living through droughts and hard times.
Sam and Maxine both begin now to track the same triangle rendezvous point as they did in scene 23. He picks up his duffel bag and begins stepping down with his words, and she puts her pen down and does the same. Slowly they focus on the point and they picture their spouse there. But then they will realize they are in each other's presence.
Maxie, I learned what the real important things in life are. That a loaf of bread can look much better and grander than a turkey dinner. That a barn can be a castle when you are cold and wet.
I will never stop loving you and taking care of you.
That a man can be driven to the point where he's like any other animal with no pride or ambition, no hope. I learned that men in trouble can be drawn closer together in a few short weeks than blood brothers.
No, I'll never stop loving you. How could I? I'm the wife of the law west of the underpass, the poor man's friend, and now only my home companion.
I learned again that all things are possible through God. I know that many, many times I was very near death and would pray for strength or for food, and always these prayers were answered. Not in indirect way, but always immediately and positively.
And we will make it together, no matter what's thrown our way. Just you wait and see, Samuel D. West. It will all be pennies from heaven from now on. I'll see you in Clyde, Texas. Love, Maxine West.
Sam West.
They now realize they are together. Take hands. He drops the duffel bag. They embrace. Kiss. He whirls her around and they kiss again. He takes a desert willow blossom out of his pocket and puts it behind her ear. One final kiss.
Oh, that was so good.
Okay. Deb, before we open it up to you, what I'd like to do is go back around the cast, and folks, give Deb your impression of the story. I'm going to start with Aaron first. Aaron, are you still there? Okay, I just got a message from Aaron on Facebook. He looks like he's frozen. Okay, he can't interact. Aaron, if you can hear me and you want to write what you thought about the show, I will pass that on. In the meantime, Hayden.
Okay. I liked it a lot. I will say I had fun trying to pronounce names of countries and cities and countries I've never even heard of before. So that was a fun time. I really liked this story. I loved a lot of what you were doing with it. on both the realistic level and then the artistic level. Those moments where I thought were really good. But all around, I really enjoyed the play.
Stacy.
I like that these are really believable characters, and you have some very believable conflict, and I think the realism, and then of course being a real place and being based off real people adds to that and gives the audience something to invest in. These are lives that really happened in times that are very in iconic times and over romanticized times in our life, and I think the setting also lends well to a romantic tale.
Bobby.
Oh yes, I like the story. The characters are very detailed. They seem to have a lot of personality. And I just really like how they're not cookie cutter. They have differences and they are diverse in who they are. And I really like that.
Susan Steele. She a few words.
Sorry I talked so much through this.
I think I had
Good.
lines for you
Could
before.
not get you to shut up.
That's okay. I really, really enjoyed this story. But I need to know if Sam's parents ever accepted Maxine.
Absolutely.
But I love the love story. It's so great. It's such a sweet love story. I loved it.
Katrina.
So, not to sound like a broken record, but I love the story. My husband and I, our first 6 months of dating were in this similar scenario. He got deployed. And so while I was reading this, I kept like going back to those memories of what it was like. And that's what you want to do. You want to write a story that people can go, wow, this is just like XYZ, or wow, this feels like something that really could happen. And so I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Like it's a great story. It's wonderfully believable. It's heart-wrenching and full of love and sadness and happiness all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else want to take a 2x4 to Tom?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes.
What a butt nugget. Like your son decided that he loved this woman. You don't get to dictate whether or not he loves. Don't get me started.
You don't get to
get
decide
into
that he
it.
doesn't.
Right? Like, sorry, bro. It's not a totalitarian rulership. Get over yourself.
I didn't know until just this year that happened. But my aunt told me, I still have a living aunt, and she said, yes, he was horribly hateful, and he said the word annulment.
Oh, butt nugget.
But by the time I was there, we went over to Tom and Esther's every Sunday and visited with the whole family, and they loved my mother, and everything was cool.
Great. I love hearing that.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that they settled their differences and that you were created from it.
And Tom, of the two, Tom and Esther, Tom was the grandkids' favorite. He would go outside and help us build a 3-story tree house and all this, you know. He chilled out a lot.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, let me read what Aaron wrote. He said it was a down-to-earth portrayal of life during that time. Small-town America charm that isn't really captured in the grand scheme of history during that time. Great story, Miss Deb. This story is relatable to many families across the country. Eddie, your thoughts?
Yes. I was just sitting here thinking about that. Yes, it was a very fine story, a wonderful little love story of two young people and during hard and difficult times. But the one little tool that she used that I really enjoyed were the radio announcers giving history so that you can mark time through their life and the world at the same time. With the radio announcers telling you what's going on, you know where the world's at and then you go back to the story and you find out where the folks in Clyde are at, or where they are in the prisoner of war camp. So I thought that was a very good little tool.
I was tempted.
And that was some.
Go
ahead, Deb.
I was tempted to cut a lot of that and make it shorter, but there was so much news. I hated to. Was it too much radio news?
No, I think it was very effective. I think it tied the story together well and gave us good breaks in the storyline so we could also see what was happening in the real world as well as what was happening in small town America.
From a technical standpoint, when I first read this, there are a lot of quick changes for Maxine. Holy cow, quick changes. So and like
radio guys had to come in.
And like granted, within the design process, and hopefully if you have a smart costume designer, you can do it with little bits and pieces for like the small time changes and stuff like that. But like there are some big like months go by changes with, and even then the radio announcers aren't saying too much. So from a technical standpoint, I wouldn't cut too much because you don't know what kind of design processes are going to happen with this play in the future, and you may run into a situation where there's an idiot as a costume designer and wants to do a full dress change every
I'd never let it happen.
One of the things,
go ahead, Stacy.
one of the things that I appreciate about the announcers is the balance with the Hollywood news and the war, because that adds a little levity to what could potentially be a really big downer throughout parts.
My first draft, it was just heavy news, and it was too much of a downer, so I had to go back and put the Hollywood stuff in.
That was a good one.
I think though, if you look back at the reels from that time period, that was actually kind of true to form though, because what they did, they kind of blended that Hollywood news. That's what the people wanted to hear, and they needed that levity.
Well, and Deb and I had conversations specifically about the announcers, in that with my OCD, and Stacy will appreciate this, some of the news stories were out of sequence in when they were happening. And so I told Deb, I said, I love the story, but that part kind of bothered me. And Aaron did like the news stories too. He said radio news was good. It helped mark time throughout the story. Trey.
Mike, did I repair the things that bothered you?
Yes, absolutely. They were more in the sequence. The one thing that throws me off is they were talking around Mother's Day and all, and suddenly Maxine is talking about Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
And so there just seemed to be a long period, and it was like, is nothing happening between them?
Right.
Trey, your thoughts?
I really enjoyed the story. I agree with everyone on the newscasters being a great tool. The thing I really enjoyed was the letters and showing that news didn't travel rapidly, because personally, me and my girlfriend spent 2 years. She was in North Carolina. I was here in Texas. And, I could call her. I could FaceTime her. I mean, we could always talk. And we forget. I think we sometimes forget that that's not the case. And I think you did a really good job of those letters trickling in, and at times letters coming that were several weeks old or past date. And I think that was very important for people to remember where we've come, but also remember the past.
Actually, all the letters I have, and
wow.
And
wow.
And it's their voices, it's their writing. I had to cut a lot, of course, and just change the slightest things. But that's really what my mom and dad wrote each other and called each other Butch and stuff. Isn't that funny?
Oh, that's so sweet.
And and you have the telegram and things that my dad wrote, the things he learned. He wrote that in 1953 after the war, and I worked that in. But it's mostly from them.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
The
Okay,
only
go ahead, Trey.
The only question I have, and I don't know if the right answer at all, especially when he was in the prisoner or was a POW and they officially report that back in the U.S. I know you say he's in a German prisoner camp. Would they have referred to as German or Nazi Germany?
I don't know. I'll look at that.
Okay.
German POW camp is all that we always heard.
Okay.
Stalag Luft 4. And this, it was all true. The February March and the frostbite, the whole thing.
And it did finally cause his.
And it caused him to have heart disease and actually what he died of. But he cheated death so many times and again until he was 83. So he lived a nice long time. My mother, on the other hand, died when she was 43. I'm thinking maybe I'll have a trilogy and write about the next big thing, which was she had a terrible, terrible case of rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
And they had challenges ahead of them with that.
Yes, great story, great play.
Susan.
Love it.
Thanks.
Susan Webb, your turn.
Well, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I really enjoyed it a lot. I love this story. I mean, obviously, it's a true story. I think what I really enjoyed was just some of the little things about. It's a story of instead of a small town girl going to a big city, it's she went to a small city, and it's, I mean, it's what really happened, but kind of the antithesis of a lot of stories, love stories, and so there are a lot of surprises in there, and I think that's kind of a neat thing, and but I think it's a real snapshot of what it was like to be a woman too. There's some underlying themes in there that I just found neat. So you get to see a glimpse of some of that struggle and spirit, but it's not. Sometimes you see that portrayed, and it is just over glamour. It's that over glamorized kind of thing, and it's really this real person, and it's her. It is what it is what it really was, and it's a real struggle. But the way she, this really strong young woman, fit into that society, and really in a small town was making her own style and her dreams, but not portrayed in an unrealistic way. I mean, she was paving her way in a way that had some real battles. But I love that little bit in there too. I just think there were a lot of little things in there to be kind of little nuggets of neatness in there. So.
Thanks. She was, my mother was really, she was a redhead boy. She would cuss, and she would take her house shoe off and throw it at you. And she was 4'8", 3/4.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 5'9".
And I think those family dynamics are really neat too, because you could see, her side of the family where maybe she had some of that spirit. They kind of nurtured that in her. Yes, they would love her to be at Fort Worth, but they didn't force that on her. And Sam's family, the other side of the family, you saw that clash. Then and even though they both had, Christian upbringing, and there was a similarity, it just there were some differences, and one was moving a little faster towards modernization, where the other, was in a different place. But and so that was kind of just a little biopsy of America at that point, and the change that was happening while this bigger thing was going on in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesse, your thoughts.
Just listening to everybody, it really brings everything to perspective for me, as far as a narrative, continuing that narrative about the times. My mom recently passed away in April, and she would tell me the stories. And I think there was that young girl who was 9 years old, Faye West, and I think she was about 9 years old when the war ended. And and she lost two brothers in Korea. And she would tell me the stories, and about the letter writing, seeing the soldiers leave. I grew up in a town not very far from Abilene, west of Sweetwater, and she would mention about the soldiers leaving on the railroad, arriving, because the travel was not like today. The one thing that really stood out to me, Debbie, was the letter writing, because today, we have this internet, everything is so instantaneous. Just the anticipation of a letter is what stood out. And she would tell me how the family would just wait for letters to arrive, and not knowing, what was going on. So that stood out. And then just the storyline, the timeline of history, and how things were slower back then, and how, just listening to her story as a young lady starting out her career, and how times were just different back then, and how things were just understood. There was a male and there was a female understanding of what your place was in society. And so, sometimes, things took time to change, and just hearing the stories kind of brought back memories. And that's what stands out to me, is just the times were different, things were slower, and just the anticipation of waiting for good news, if that was the case.
That's right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Sylvia.
Oh my
our
gosh.
hostess.
You're welcome. I loved it. I really did. A lot of the things have already been said. The radio announcers, I absolutely loved that. And you two guys did amazing with that, because I could not look up, and it literally sounded like I was hearing this on a radio, which was so cool. It made everything so real. It was really nice. And I just gotta say, I would love to see this on stage. I really would. Like, I could already picture, the Five and Dime where they were meeting, and just all of it. Like, I could see it in my head, and I would just absolutely love to see this on stage, or even working it backstage and helping with the. I would love to see it. That's all I can say, truly.
Excuse me. My sister read it, and she said she could just see my mom and dad up there. So that made me feel so great.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that would just be amazing. So I just thank you for putting this out there and sharing. This is, you're sharing not just something that you made up in your mind, which is already a gift to people, but to take your family's life and personal and history and all of that. Thank you for putting that out there and sharing it, because it was really an honor to be a part of this. It was really neat.
So much. I enjoyed it.
Okay, Tony.
I have a question. Mike, how long do you think it would run if it was run?
Well, I mean, we started at about 7:30 and it finished about 9 o'clock. So that was about an hour and a half, but that was with stage direction in there. I'm thinking it would probably go about 80 minutes. Yeah, we would have scene changes. I would think between 80 and 90 minutes. I would also think that we could easily put an intermission break in there to fill it out a little bit more. And I don't think it would break any continuation in it. So, Tony.
What? Oh, yeah. First of all, sorry about any of the technical fluffs I had here early on. I'm happy I was able to get in. Since I'm kind of toward the end of everybody, I can kind of repeat a lot of what people said. I enjoyed the story. I thought that the characters are very believable, made the dialogue seem natural. I do hope that when this does happen, I hope that when it happens, I hope that you guys may have some of the letters and telegrams out in the lobby so people can see them and can kind of see the actual history involved there. And and maybe even maybe on one of the shows even do a Q&A afterwards, just so people can learn maybe a little bit more about the history of the family and like they're saying, the things about, did the parents ever learn to get along with Maxine and all of that, things that people may want to know about the actual history, since these are real people. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
It might be an interesting.
Oh God, hang on, time out. Sorry, I was getting ice cream.
Maybe we need to do a talk back. A talk back would be really neat.
A talk back. Yeah. It also could be a unique, depending on how you staged it and depending on your set designer, but it could be an interesting way to bring in projections, project pictures on the psych, or even do a minimal set with pictures from Clyde or something like that. So just to cut down on transition time, add to that realism, and I don't know, it might be a neat way to present it.
Well, but okay, before Cece comes in with her thoughts, so y'all will know, after reading it and hearing your conversation, I mean, when Deb first mentioned it to me, we did something 2 or 3 years ago for Veterans Day, where we did Piece of My Heart, and that was a special production. I think this could be just as special, also doing it around Veterans Day. I don't know that I'd want to do it at Memorial Day just to close out the season with it, but I think if we did it sometime like around Veterans Day, that somebody who's in here would like to write a proposal for that. And so that's probably going to be a proposal for next season. Just saying. So, Cece.
So, broken record again, I thought it was just so good and so vivid in the detail that you put in there, even with just the stage directions and just the way that you had their characters come through from the way that I just loved it. And I loved that, I could see it happening in my mind. And I'm a visual person. Like whenever I'm reading something or listening to something, if I can't see it in my head, I'm like, screw this. But I could see it in my head with your descriptions of everyone. It was just it was great. I loved it.
So much.
Debbie Sherman.
I had her
ice cream. We'll have to have some.
Yeah.
I needed it.
Everybody's comments, I can only just ditto a lot of that. I especially loved how, and maybe it's because I played her mom at the beginning. I played Ruth. So I loved how you can take the setting from then to now. It's the same thing. Kids are ready to grow up. They're ready to get out on their own. They're grown. And the young ladies are so young. I remember my mom telling me, she was leaving high school and going to college at 16. So, there's so much of it just sinks into today. And just a couple of comments earlier from Eddie and Stacy, I believe. I loved the timelines that we were given with the radio announcers. And I had this very same thing. I love that you put the Hollywood snippets in there, because that just brings the reality touch to it. Yes, the news was the war, of course, but I love that other things and like I say, it can relate to today. We go through the same thing, the life cycle,
Thanks.
Okay, Aaron, since you're on live with us, anything additional that you'd like to share?
Pretty much the same stuff I said before. I mean, it was really a relatable story across the section there. I mean, my grandfather was at Pearl Harbor when they hit and everything for the war and everything. So it's the way everything is written, the personal touches to the interaction between the families was the core of the whole play. Everything was really important to it. And it kind of tied everything together really well.
Yeah,
It was good. It was a good job.
You were bad, Tom. In a good way.
Is that bad or good?
He does evil so well. I can speak from experience.
Okay, well, Deb, I've got a question to ask you.
Sure.
Deb, I've got a question to ask you that's not about Tom, because I hate Tom, but I'm in love with Faye. Did Maxine ever grow to at least accept Clyde, or did she still?
As far as I knew, my mother loved Clyde. She was there. She was a member of all the ladies' clubs, and she put my mother had leopard print carpet in her new 2-story house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just, think about it. But we took when I was 5, we took an old boarding house that was close to the school and redid it. And my nephew still lives in the home. It has gas lighting, and it's a real, one of those real
old wonderful
houses.
Yeah.
On porch.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay, well, Deb, one more question for you. Do you have any questions for the cast?
Okay, did anyone feel totally cheated because their character wanted to say something and you got stomped on? You didn't get to say what you think the character would say.
No, I thought my character.
Mildred?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but my character just really stole the show, so there's nothing else.
Because it's because of her good lookingness and never been.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like the stage directions were just so, I don't know, they could have had more frill.
Yeah.
Here's the delivery portion of them.
I like directors.
I'm sorry. I directed for about 36 years, and so I couldn't get away from the directions part of it.
The stage directions could have at least had an accent. Gosh, you can walk with a British accent.
She would have loved
It's just the delivery of them, that's all.
I felt all the characters.
Cece, was that pointed at Ruth?
Yes.
I love
Go
you
ahead,
so much.
Debbie.
Oh no, I just said I think all the characters were true to form. They said what they needed to say at the time, and I can only speak for my character. I mean, just that you want your child to stay home, and then we worried when he went off to war. I think every part was well played and well spoken.
Okay. I will say this about my my grandmother that you played, my Granny Scott, Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
She was an angel on earth.
Yes, she was.
When my mother was ill, she moved to Clyde and lived 2 doors down from us and just saved our lives.
Deb and I would sneak out of study hall and go to her house, which was by the school, and she'd have hot pie coming out of the oven, and we'd sneak a piece of pie and then go sneak back to school.
Well, I felt that with her. I could tell from the very beginning. I could just tell she wants everybody to be happy.
She did.
Strong-willed, trying to make excuses and explain why they're acting this way now, but we're just going to go with it.
And she grew up helping her mom run boarding houses, and she was a cook, and she was great with money, and she was a widow, pretty young at about 60, and boy, she just ran the world for us.
Yeah, yeah.
She was awesome.
She
So
was.
see, we got that. I at least got that with my character. I hope everybody else did too. You kind of see where they were at that point in time in their lives.
If I write a new, if I'm working on the trilogy and the next thing, then Granny Scott will have a bigger part because, she'll get to love on us all.
Yeah, there you go.
I really got the impression that Booty had her thumb on the going-ons in Clyde, and in the most motherly way possible. But boy, she knew everything.
Yeah, running that business in downtown Clyde, man, she did know everything.
Yeah.
And if she didn't get it, her husband, who ran the gas station, got it.
Yeah.
They were the power couple. But I got a lot of information. My Aunt Faye is still living, and I had big interviews with Aunt Faye. I wish you could meet her. She's in her late 80s, but she looks way younger than I do. It's disheartening. There ought to be a law.
Kind of going back to your question about the characters, for the most part, I felt like, at least for my character, everything I said sounded like something she would have said. There was one sentence that when I first read it, I was like, in scene 21, I took notes. I have a couple notes, sorry. In scene 21, she's reading these letters from Sam, and at one point she finishes the letter and then goes, and here's the telegram I got today. Like it just felt like more of something of, hey audience, just so you know, this is what I'm reading, and not necessarily something she would have said, because she's talking to herself essentially, and it just felt weird. Like, I understand why it's there, I just feel like it could be worded a little different.
It needs a transition. Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. That's good. How did you like that time when she said, "Oh, do you love me too? Too bad."
I have said that to my husband, so I approve.
Too bad.
I'd like to see.
Well,
Brother
folks, any other comments? Go ahead, Eddie. Sorry.
Oh, I was just, I'd like to see Brother Crutchfield with a little more to say.
Yeah. Okay.
But then, let him express a little piece of good Christian sensibilities.
What about the wedding scene? I just had it be visual and fast and get on. Did that kill anybody?
I think
I think that was the wedding scene is good. I like to see that it everybody knows what a wedding is, and it presented a visual image of the wedding, and then moved on with the story without hanging up on that much.
Okay.
I think I really liked it because we know what happens at a wedding. We don't necessarily need the words. We just need the visual. The only thing, the only caution I would give on that is watch out for your crazy costume designer. Because that's a fast scene. That's a very fast transition.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
So the stage manager in me is like,
the actor in me is like,
yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things I think, like even like if there was like a silhouette, one of those silhouette things where it's happening behind the silhouette, and all you have to really do is add a veil.
Yeah. And I mean,
a good idea. That was
Write
that down.
I like that the idea of the wedding scene also kind of comes back to the idea of their dancing scene, and then to them at the end, where it's not really about I don't want to say it's not about the words because it is, but where it's more about the actions that they're doing together than it is about anything going on around them, and that kind of ties back into the dance that they do, and then again at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
Encapsulation, the family dynamics.
Okay, so I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to suggest that we go ahead, because we could continue talking about this for quite some time, I think. What I would like to do is encourage Miss Ruth now to finish edits on her script, so we can read another picture of World War II. So Miss Ruth.
She and I decided independently of one another to write about our parents' experiences in World War II. So my story is about my dad overseas.
Great.
And what happened. So we didn't, I mean, they're just great stories. Anybody that had someone in war has a great story. There are great stories. Oh.
Yeah.
But I will get mine. This kind of gives me a fire to. I had to cut mine down.
Good.
Charlie told me he really liked it, but it was 2.5 hours.
Oh God.
So I got to cut it. I'm cut.
You
so.
can imagine when we get to talking to each other.
We are. We're pretty.
Well, Trey and Katrina were both in Charlie's class too, so they understand about being told to make cuts.
Yes.
So, okay. Well, with that, what I'm going to suggest is we go ahead and close this puppy down. Be watching. I seriously once Ruth gives me her script, we'll have one more there. But I have another musical by Richard Pickett that is probably just as bad as the United States of America, baby. And I also, Hayden just stroked out. Plus, I've got a script by my friend David Rimshell that is called Jack of the Scarecrows, which is a very interesting read. A much smaller script, but I would like to do both of those as readings, and I would love Ruth to get a group together like this to read yours also, because you've told me about your story. I think it would be just as good, interesting of a story to tell as Desert Willow has been.
It's
and I think it holds just as much potential. Yeah.
It's heavy on guys.
So
there's two or three women. It's heavy.
Well, we can probably get guys. I just we'll need to know that ahead of time so we can do some recruiting for this. Okay. So anybody else have any last comments?
I have one more thing, just a personal preference of mine. I wish Maxine would swear, because she seems like the kind of person who does not care what your ears want to hear. She's gonna say the words that come out of her mouth. And like, I like that she says derriere. That's not a word you hear all the time, but I just wanted her to say, kiss my ass, you know? I just wanted her to say it, and like, she's building to it. And then at one point, I think in scene 25, she said the word damn. So I was like, wait, you said it here, but you won't say it over here when your feelings are like on fire, you know? And that same thing with Sam. There was one scene where he said hot dang, and like, I know for a fact an army guy would not say hot dang around other army men. And you know, that's like, I'm not asking for it to be riddled with curse words, but like, there are just some scenes that would take it.
You see, I'll tell you what was happening in my head. Being a director
Very funny.
in Texas, having done UIL, I was thinking UIL. But,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, things can be cut, and I'll probably make some changes there.
And
well,
we've got
so you'll know, Katrina is a little Salvation Army girl. So if she's okay with the cursing in it.
Right. And hot
Well, we've
damn-
got a messenger group. As you're making your changes, just throw questions out to our Facebook Messenger. Mike created that group, so
Yeah.
you know we can
Oh,
any questions that you know as y'all are rewriting and reworking, we'd love to stay in touch.
all right.
Very
Thank you. I
nice.
love that.
and-
Yeah, you've got the script, you've got our names and everything. So
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, well, Sylvia's got the recording.
I think I see that Hayden's trying to say something.
I do. I have one thing I want to throw out there really quickly, and then you can get rid of us, Mike. I see what you're trying to do. No, but I do want to hear about what you think about this, Mike, because you and I were reading the radio announcers the entire time. For me, when reading some of them, there were words that I'm just stumbling over already. But that's fine, because that's one of those things that you can easily just be like, that's how you pronounce it. Say it like that from here on out. Move on with your life. There were times where it would be like, it would get redundant, and it would suddenly be like, yesterday the Allies invaded Italy yesterday, and the day before tomorrow they invaded Italy, and I kind of got like, oh, yes, when?
Okay, I'll check that.
But just like as you're going through it.
It's the bane of my existence. I'm not a history buff. But I've worked on it, and I need some more polish for sure.
So just wanted to throw that back out there.
Mike, this has helped so much, being able to hear. And we normally in the class, we would have been able to do this, but, you know, the pandemic, the damn pandemic got us.
Yeah. Well, what the next step will be, Sylvia has recorded this. So Sylvia, we just need to figure out how to get it to me. I'll do some edits, the front end and the back to trim it down. And then what I'll do, and it's kind of like what I did for United States of America, baby, is I posted it up on YouTube. Don't necessarily share it openly, but it's something that the link can be shared, but y'all will be the first ones to get it. And so I think this was fun. And again, it was a fun story to tell.
Thanks.
So
it was fun.
Oh, it was very
I
awesome.
just want to share it with my sister and brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and with that, I'm going to drop off, not for any other reason than I want to go spend a little time with my wife. So,
Good night, everybody.
But thank you all for participating.
Good night.
Katrina, it was good seeing all of y'all, but I haven't seen Katrina in 2 years. So,
thank y'all. Enjoyed it. It was great.
Appreciate it.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See y'all next time.